him again since he's not
Yeah,
here.
are you kidding me?
Okay.
You know what's great? I'm gonna leave this at the beginning of the show. We just transitioned. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 22. My happy, we're already talking about you. We miss you so much. That just shows how much you care. Man, this is gonna be a great episode already, folks. We've been on hiatus mainly because it's my fault. I've been sick. I'm gonna start off a little bit of just behind the scenes. I've been in and out of the hospital. Everything's fine. I'm back. I lost some weight. I look great. I've got a new nickname. It's AAA. You know why? Great. Because I had some surgery. They had to add 2 B holes back there. You know, A holes. AAA. I've already got 3 now. But you know who's got another great nickname? Somebody else on the show, co-host of this show, Dominic Irvin. No, don't you deflect, you beautiful baby. You. Dominic IRL got promoted to director, so now he's Double D. Yeah, Double D, AAA. Here we go. Joining us once again,
just like Sean my body type. Let's
friend
go.
of the program, fellow developer just like me, and quite frankly, evidently developing a Akira-style moto racer game in cahoots with people like our other guest. Let me read this description because, quite frankly, I'm going to butcher it if I don't. A creative in many spaces, an IT analyst by day, and a game developer, artist, and writer by night. He's worked in almost every field there is, and these days he's just trying to churn out as much progress as he can on a handful of projects. Please welcome Justin Mitchell to the show. What's up, baby?
How's it going, baby? Thanks for having me.
It feels like men at work. We're doing golf clap, golf clap, golf clap,
golf clap, golf clap,
golf clap, golf clap.
No.
Polite applause.
For you young kids, Men at Work is a movie from the 80s.
Yes, with the Sheen
Bros.
That's so old.
With the Estevez and the Sheen Bros.
I think Ernie's the youngest one here.
No,
I just look young.
I look young. I've lost so much weight.
I think I'm younger than all of y'all.
Probably. I mean, ooh, yeah.
I'm not 35.
Okay.
I'm above 35.
Yeah, also above 35.
Yeah.
But thanks to denial, I'm 22.
Yeah.
Boy's 30. I'm 33.
Tom's however old he wants to be.
I'm 33 and I look 76.
That's a,
I got 76 months.
Though, man. You
I don't
look
know about 76.
You're a good looking 76. I don't know what 76-year-olds you're playing golf with.
Helen Mirren.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. She is timeless.
Yeah.
Dom looks great for his age. I don't know who was saying this on chat. Might be me. But, just want to get this going because I hate when I see this right-sided on our show and it's empty. Hopefully people join on. But you know what, guys? Thank you. Episode 22. It's been a while. Episode 20, we had a special guest. Episode 21, Happy and I got together, kept things going. Things went south. This episode, I was conflicted. I was kind of like, do we like act like everything's normal? Do I just kind of skip it? Whatever. There was so much content in episode 22 before it got canceled and we threw an update on social. I deleted, correct me if I'm wrong, Mahaffey, if you're in the comments here, like 30 slots. There were so many topics.
Yeah.
Lightning round was massive. Shows were coming on. Shows were ending. I almost felt kind of guilty hitting delete so many times because it was just so jam-packed. And then you fast forward to this week, there's still so much going on because we're coming off the heels of Halloween, which had its marathon run for 3 weeks. Every week was something big, but at least we kind of peppered in some of the bigger topics here. So at least this episode,
it's still going on though,
dude. We're heading right into the holiday season, so I think we're just gonna. I mean, it's kind of like running alongside of a train. You might not be in the front cart anymore, but even if you get on the caboose, you're still moving at full speed.
There's a lot.
And I've got my little hobo pack with me as I hop on. Yeah.
The little like sack on a stick.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have anything except like candy bars or something.
Yeah, it's just candy and like the one figurine that you like.
Right, exactly.
That's what you put in there.
It's my D&D mini. You need to bring it.
Yep.
Green Power Ranger.
One
with the head that flips.
Ooh,
I don't know if you guys had that.
I remember that.
Flip it and it goes.
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
You rich? Well.
Yes, I am.
He steals from rich.
He's rich now. He's a director.
I said not
That's right.
was, buddy. Not was, buddy. I'm Double D over here. I'm flowing with it.
That title has made my head real big at work. People will be like, "Hey, can you do this?" But no, I can't. I'm a director now.
I can't even fit through the door on a virtual Zoom.
I'm just kidding.
Get away from me, peasant.
Right.
Yeah.
Hide your money, y'all.
What do you direct?
People
Nothing.
I'm gonna out you a little bit, man. You want to tell people what you call it when you fly coach versus first class?
I don't think it does, based on this reaction.
That was Mike's thing. That wasn't even mine. I'm not the one who coined the term flying peasant.
Oh,
I did
that's
not
messed up.
coin the term flying peasant. Granted,
Flying peasant.
look,
Yeah,
I'm
flying
a
peasant
bigger
is
guy.
coach.
I
and
need a bigger
flying
seat.
First class is
and I like
Lord
free
class.
drinks.
So
Flying
good.
working class.
Working class. There you go. There you go.
Flying blue collar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the rest of us that don't afford Lord class, or whatever you want to call it, you can actually go to toughraps.com
Farquad
and
class.
enter code Joystick to get 10% off of your purchase. Things from gear to apparel to supplements, anything you need and more. Put it on, and then blammo, enter the code Joystick and get 10% off. See, nice little segue. We don't have to ruin anybody
yeah.
else's good name when they're not here. I love it. It's my favorite thing on the show.
We don't have to,
That's right.
but we still might.
Might be
can
done.
if we want. Let's see. How about we enter the very first thing? There's always every episode because the name says it right in itself. Joystick Maverick. The first thing, State of Gaming. Joystick. Last thing, Maverick. We go wild. So this week we're starting off with probably
Good
the biggest game that I've heard hype from. That's like a mainstay media name, right? So it's got movies, it's got comics, it's now got a huge video game release from Square Enix, and the storyline supposedly is amazing, even though this is not Chris Pratt's hair, which I'm fine with now that he's the voice of everything and ruining my childhood. But here we go. Guardians of the Galaxy is released on every console, including ones I own, and I still didn't buy it. But I know somebody else on this show has. What do you guys think so far? I hear the story's pretty good. Let me read some quick show notes if you guys will humor me for a second. Guardians of the Galaxy kicks off with a plot from taking place several years after a massive interstellar war that left its mark on the entire galaxy, which is still dealing with its devastating consequences. Among those interested in exploiting the situation are the Guardians. Obviously, we got the old crew here from the show, so I'm not going to relist all of them. But the deal is they just want to make some quick money while they're wandering throughout the galaxy. And however, while attempting to scam a wealthy collector, a seemingly harmless bet between two members of the team inadvertently triggers a small accident, which quickly sets in motion a series of catastrophic events. Awesome. It's just like the movie.
So,
I mean, it's
Before
these
I
guys are
get into
goobers,
this
and then
game.
just being goobers, you know, it's any good Pixar movie. Coincidence will
Yes.
never lead you down a better path. It will always lead you down a worse one. Period. Like, oh shoot, that guy he knew about that
In
thing.
movies.
Damn, we're fucked, right? We're going the other way.
It's the
Yeah.
rule of whoopsie.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Oh, well,
So I know that some of you were in the Joystick Maverick Slack channel when I just vehemently started screaming about how hard it was for me to purchase this game.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah,
I have
what was the story?
I bought it on. I finally got it on fucking
I'm
PS5.
sitting there holding
Okay.
it down
So-
to myself in a hospital bed, like, oh, that's your problem. That's your problem.
He's fucking having
Give me more
surgery, and I'm like,
you're gonna,
I
you're
can't
gonna
buy
wave
this
that.
fucking
You're gonna
game.
wave that in our face forever and always now.
So I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna buy Guardians of the Galaxy and download it. Like I was just gonna do that before. So I go onto my PlayStation, I go to the store, I add it to my cart, I hit checkout. It says an error has occurred, and I'm like, great. I hit checkout again. It says an error has occurred. Awesome. I go to the app. It says an error has occurred.
Good.
I call American Express and I'm like, hey,
stuff.
is my shit shut off? Like, and they're like, no. And I was like, all right, let me check. So here's what I do when I am like trying to test my credit card to make sure it's good. I just buy something. So
Really?
like this time, I think I bought like it was like fucking V-Bucks or some shit. Like I don't know. I bought some
No,
virtual
but-
currency, and I was like, just so that I could figure out if my credit card was working. And they're like, yeah, no, your credit card's fine. Like everything's good. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. So I called PlayStation, and they're like, or I got on chat with PlayStation, and like I waited for 99 people in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got to chat, I was like, hey, I can't purchase this game. And they're like, hey, check your address. And then just signed off. Like nothing. I was
Oh,
like,
they
I was
completely
like,
dropped.
Good
Wow.
stuff.
Hope that works for you.
Not to
So I-
spook
wow.
anybody, but Happy is watching and he's in the chat and he just said PlayStation Store sucks. So
Terrible.
clearly not a one-off experience.
So it's not even
Yeah.
just PlayStation Store. So I tried to buy it again. I checked my address and I'm like, oh, an error has occurred. Sweet. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just buy a PlayStation Network card at Walmart.com. And I did that, and then 5 minutes later, they're like, this looks suspicious, so we're gonna cancel this order. And I'm like,
What?
Fucker, just someone let me buy this game.
Yeah,
It says
one
here
level deeper.
You bought V-Bucks,
And then
yeah, we can't.
And then I went to GameStop.com and I was like, here, let me try this. The same fucking thing. They're like,
Really?
oh, our fraud department flagged this because you've never bought virtual currency and it looks like it's fraudulent. And I'm like, it's not fraudulent. I just want to buy Guardians of the Galaxy for the context. They're like, why don't you just buy the disc version? I was like, because I have a discless PlayStation 5 because it's 2021.
Yep.
For God's sakes.
Yep.
You're like, yeah, you only buy
Look at them
massive
trying to-
TVs that you don't even put in your house anywhere. They just sit in the background and like, why would you buy virtual currency? You want an NFT?
Right.
We've got plenty of those.
Motherfucker. So the end all be all is that this was like a whole week long ordeal. And finally, I like tried it again earlier last week and it worked. And I was like, sweet. So I downloaded it.
Okay, well that's good.
The game's fucking sweet. Like, so it was worth it. Like,
Okay,
Thank God.
I
I had low expectations.
So did I. Play Avengers is not or the Avengers game is not great.
Yeah, I've heard that's not great. My only my only feedback on Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of what I watched when they announced it and they did the like 15-minute thing on it for whatever game show that was. And they were just walking around in that mission and I was like, are they gonna talk the whole game? Are they just gonna sit there and talk shit to each other the whole time I play this game? Because I don't want that. That's annoying as fuck.
Like the characters just throw puns at each
minutes
other. They're just like, "Hey, you look stupid." Well, you're still tall, and like, "Oh, well, you're a
like
raccoon."
the whole 15 minutes was just all of the rest of the characters besides who you were playing, just talking shit to each other. And
So
I was
just
like,
a lot
banter?
of chit chat in the game.
yeah,
Now I'm only 2 hours into the game.
okay.
There's a lot of chit chat into the game.
I would.
I
love
think
to know
that
how
might turn me
went,
off
though.
a little bit.
I will imagine if like they had to watch the entire storyline play out, and like there's just like those voice actors sitting in a room just nipping on beers or whatever, and just being really disgruntled with each other. That would be funny.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Sure.
But I would not
Sure.
want to. To your point, I wouldn't want to hear like extra content, like just people shooting.
Let me tell you
guns in my
what.
ears. Like, come on, dude.
The one
Cyberpunk
redeeming
had the same
quality
problem.
of this whole fucking like the voice acting of it is that it's not the MCU cast.
I was
that
going to
does
ask
it.
about that. How
Yeah.
jarring is that?
It's a little jarring. For here's the thing. Look, I'm not the biggest Chris Pratt fan. Like
No
if
shit.
you
Nobody is.
if you,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard previous episode of Joystick Maverick where I just shit on Chris Pratt. I'm not the biggest Chris Pratt fan. I didn't hate him on Parks and Rec, but like whatever.
Jurassic Park did it for me. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic Park was great. I liked her.
Great.
Yeah.
She can run in heels all day. I don't care.
Everybody has
Yeah.
a type. You know what I'm saying?
Usually, and
Me
I'm surprised.
Sean are
Usually,
like this right now.
yeah, that's right. Usually, I love the Chris Pratt type, but Bryce Dallas Howard, I was like, all right, yeah, you're not annoying, and also, you go ahead and outrun a T-Rex in high heels.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Sure
the
thing.
voice acting I actually like. I like the character models. The soundtrack is very much like it was in the movies, where it's a lot of 80s music and a lot of like Black Sabbath, Metallica, all that stuff, which is fucking awesome. Like I'm here for that. I like that it's big. Like we're gonna talk about Eternals later on in the show a little bit. I know that I might be the only one that have seen this movie.
I want to see it so bad.
Everybody wants to see it. I was like, I'm not fucking missing it. I've been waiting for this movie for 2 years.
I seen
Yeah.
it. I seen it. Yeah, I'm ready.
But like, I like that Marvel now, like especially with this game, is like we're getting cosmic Marvel in our like. I'm like, I love the Iron Man and the Captain America bullshit and the Avengers stuff. Like, I'm a big fan of that. But like, I'm ready for like Galactus and Silver Surfer and all of the and Adam Warlock and like all of the like the cosmic Marvel side of things to start coming about. And this game is really great. I really enjoy it. The only thing that kind of gets me is the combat is a little floaty. It's a lot of like shooting and then with a few little bit of melee things. I honestly would have preferred to play as someone like Gamora as opposed to playing as Star-Lord. You don't play as any of the other Guardians of the Galaxy. You only
play
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord the whole time.
Oh,
You,
interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
And it's like you can it's kind of like how for anybody who played Kingdom Hearts, like how Donald and Goofy interact, where like you can like have them do something like in
they wouldn't
mid-combat
shut
and
up
all
either.
that stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you can like trigger AI from them, but you can't like hop into them.
No, you can't hop into them. But it's cool. I really enjoy the game. Right now it's a game of the year contender for me. I haven't really played much this year, to be honest, because there hasn't been much that's been A, that has come out, and B, I can't get my hands on an Xbox, and I would probably say that Forza Horizon 5 is going to be game of the year anyway. But
what, Animal Crossing New Horizons? Not.
I mean, that shit was dope. But wasn't that last year?
No. But they literally 6 days ago just released a gigantic update and a DLC for it.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah,
I gotta get that. And like the Diamond and Pearl remakes come out.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
soon.
So like, I mean, there's shit coming out, and Halo comes out in like a week and a half. So like, I mean, shit is coming out that's probably gonna knock Guardians of the Galaxy off its peg a little bit.
There's not much of the year left, so like could possibly.
It's so interesting for me because I focus very little on the AAA space and a ton on the indie space. So I've had a shit ton of games this year. They're amazing that like nobody knows about. I think game of the year for me right now is probably Eastward. Eastward is an absolutely incredible experience.
I love indie games. I am a slut for AAA titles.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
Like,
I'm not going to kink shame you. Yeah.
Like, listen, I'm down. Like, indie, I love indie titles. Okay. Like, I do. I love the storytelling, like Oxenfree. I loved that. Outer Wild, I would say. Isn't it like loved it, amazing, but like give me a Devil May Cry 5 because like I'm in. Like I love that shit.
There's a really big difference in, and I won't say quality because there's some indies that come out with just insanely good games. But you can tell like there's a difference between playing an open world indie and playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like you could like there's money there. There's you can tell stakeholders were just foaming at the mouth every time something deviated from there. From the norm. It's indies can definitely take more risks, and so you can just feel it in every little design choice. Definitely. But sometimes you just want to gorge on that sweet Far Cry 6 formula.
I want to like where I play as some witchy broad that has hair that like turns into dragons and shit. Like that's what I want to do. But then I also will cry like a baby at the end of Journey for the 85th time that I played it because it's fucking incredible. But I'll be honest with you. If you're cool on Guardians of the Galaxy and you're like, I like the movies and this, wait till this game's like $29.99 or like $19.99. I would say it's a great playthrough. I bought it because I'm a big Marvel fan and I'm like kind of in that. I go through phases of like Marvel and DC, like where I'm like I'm all into Marvel shit, and right now I'm into that phase right now because I watched Eternals, I watched Shang-Chi. I read a bunch of the Shang-Chi stuff. I read the Neil Gaiman run on Eternals, and like I'm like, all right, I'm kind of into my Marvel shit right now. And I want a Marvel game. I replayed Spider-Man Miles Morales on PS5. So like, I mean. So
sorry. I don't know. Is it would you say that Star-Lord plays as a cover shooter or more like a Uncharted, maybe the Iron Man playthrough of the Marvel games? Like what's the style?
It's very much like Uncharted with like, the way you described Iron Man, it's very much like that. It's almost identical. Okay. Like there's not a lot of melee combat. It's a lot of like, here are my guns, shoot, and I have like abilities and stuff, kind of like how Iron Man has his repulsors and all that. It's very much like that.
Interesting.
It's not very deep.
I definitely just based on the Marvel Avengers was expect when I saw all the ads for Star-Lord, I'm like, oh, I can swap between like Groot and Rockets and Gamora, and you get the same thing, but it looks like there's a little bit more heart and soul in that compared to the Square Enix Marvel grind shooter looter.
The
That
first
seems
15 hours of Avengers, the game, is fucking awesome. Like it's a great story. You play as Kamala Khan, the Miss Marvel. You go through that story. Like you kind of recruit the Avengers that after this whole event that happened in San Francisco. Like it's very cool. It's once you get past the story and you're like kind of in the end game where it tries to be Destiny, where you're like, I gotta go, I want to do loot and like raids and all that shit, where it's just like, this is fucking boring.
right.
There's this obsession these days with creating a game that never ends.
Yeah.
And having an end game that's going to be 100 hours, regardless of how big the actual game content is for the storyline. And I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
I like finite experiences.
Yeah,
I don't need a game that needs to be.
There's a lot of power in getting to the end of something and feeling like, hey, that was a good, contained experience.
There's a payoff.
I sort of felt the same way. I've played a lot of co-op Stardew Valley in the last year, and Stardew Valley like doesn't end. You like at the end of the third year, I think your granddad's spirit comes back and is like, thanks for taking care of my farm or whatever. And like, that's it. You just play it. You there's no end point. You just play it until you don't boot it up again one day, or you make a new farm, and it can go on forever, or it can be, this sort of trailing off, whatever. But there's no like you never roll credits on it. Yeah. And it's a weird experience because there's an end game for sure. And there are things that, you have to do sort of linearly. And
Mike.
and you can get to the point where there's really nothing else for you to do, but the game doesn't end. It's still just a farm sim at the core. And so you can just continue to farm forever and ever. And so we've gone through 2 whole 4-player co-op farms now, and we were just like, well, all right, that's another farm done. We'll just put that down.
It's exciting to probably like explore the different things you can make, and I've watched Stardew Star Crew with you and the team. And I played Stardew Valley up to a point on my Switch, but the base game before all of the big DLCs and expansions. And so watching you play through it with everybody is really fascinating because you see the teamwork and all the things that you can create with not just mods, but also all of the things I never knew the game had to offer. But it definitely seemed like it definitely seems like it's ad nauseum, never ending, and that's not why you play Stardew Valley. You play almost for I joke, I would never let my wife see me playing Stardew Valley because I have enough problems doing chores at home, and if she sees me running chores digitally, don't you have a garden in the back that's like crazy outgrown? That's like
it'd be like her walking in on you playing the game Unpacking, like you just moved into a house. And you're like, let's play Unpacking.
Yeah. Or playing like Power Washer Simulator or like houseflipper.com. It's like, you won't even fix stuff in the real world. It's like, but I'm getting points from this.
It makes me feel good.
It's really awesome to see, but I can totally see how Stardew Valley is not there solely for like the final story, and having an endpoint is really a really important thing for a project to feel finished, to feel satisfying.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Mike said,
finished, we're 31
endings are
minutes
hard.
into this topic, and we're still talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. 15 hours of gameplay. I was told earlier that the next topic, the first hour is intriguing, and then in hour 5 there's a twist, and we haven't even wrapped up the first topic of this episode. Mahaffey,
don't worry,
that in Guardians you can turn off licensed music and then get instead royalty-free music. He also said, but endings are hard to land and don't make as much money. To which
case in point, Mass Effect 3.
At it, yeah.
But we won't talk about
that.
Case in point, Game of Thrones, the TV show. It's not hard. It's not hard, but if you don't
There's
try,
some really big asterisks there for a couple of those projects.
Support.
I will
Breaking Bad.
reserve my endings are hard to land comment for a later segment.
Oh,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about.
Nice.
I can't wait to talk about that. Too,
Shattering.
so.
Stick around for the podcast to hear what Griff has to say.
The very next topic is Inscryption. To me, I consider this an indie game because it costs less than $50 for me to buy it today. Also, another game that I bought
That's
on
not why
Steam
it's
on
an
a
indie
Mac
game, but
and
okay.
only works on a Windows machine that doesn't boot. So I now own this and can't play it. This is now 2 games in 2 days I cannot play.
You were so excited about getting your Steam account up and running. You were like, dude, I got my Steam account up and running. Add me on Steam.
I was
we'll
so
play
jazzed.
games.
I was so jazzed.
We're going to start a
Every
GoFundMe
games,
for
I'm
Ernie's
gonna
computer.
Like I just you
Yeah.
know what? We got to start getting some other
sad.
sponsors. Tough Wraps does a great job, but they don't make computers. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some like
Maybe we'll do
ASOS or-
maybe we'll like court Evolve
Get
PCs.
Dell.
yeah, whatever.
Dell.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
get a Dell. I'll play whatever. I don't care. Toshiba, I'll play it on that too, man. Let's get it going.
We'll
but
get
in-
the knockoff Sony Kobe to sponsor.
I'll play it on the new like Rivian truck if they play games. I don't care. The next topic.
Tell me
is
about
obviously
Inscryption.
Inscryption. It's actually the plot summary. YouTuber Luke Carter films himself opening booster packs of collectible card games after obtaining sets from Inscryption, a card game that was only printed once. He finds one of the cards has a set of coordinates written on it, located nearby. He digs at the indicated site and finds a box with a floppy disk labeled Inscryption, which is a surprise to him as he was never aware of the game being made into a computer version. After setting up his computer to read the disk, he begins playing the game. First off, my computer's probably the only one in this chat that might actually have read a floppy disk, but now it doesn't because it doesn't turn on. Second, floppy disk is also known as the save icon if you're under the age of 12. So if you don't know what that is, go
Yep.
back and then find another thing called a floppy disk, not a 3.5 by 5 floppy disk. They're different. One is actually floppy. The ottle one is a little coaster now. You can just put your drink on
Why do
it.
they call it floppy? It's not floppy.
You know. Yeah, I remember college. Hey, here's my C++ app that doesn't run. Oh, it's you did it on a Mac? Yeah, you're fail. Well, whatever. Thanks, Odie.
I remember installing Windows I remember installing SimCity 2000 on 36 floppy disks.
Oh my god.
It was wild. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere I think my
There was
parents had Windows 3.0.1.
Yeah.
On a
Man.
floppy. Sorry, 3.01.
Cutting
on a
edge.
Windows like little floppy, like 5 of those. Crazy.
So
Okay,
is this game
I-
like TikTok? Like
I know. I gotta say, put up that spoiler.
So hard.
I'll
Here we
flag
go.
this. Put up
Spoiler
that
alert.
spoiler
Flag,
banner.
flag, flag,
Because
flag, flag.
Honestly, the plot summary.
Spoiler.
The plot summary. This game is a game you need to go in completely blind. So this makes this entire segment like just mute us because, oh boy, you need to. If anybody wants to play this thing,
I gotta throw.
Fuck-
I'm
just
throwing in the
fuck off.
comments too, just in case people don't read.
yeah,
for
just
it.
fuck off and go play this game because it's one of those movies. It's one of those just like movies that you need to go in blind. You need to play this blind because this is a game that does so many things really great, but it also subverts a lot of expectations and any sort of hint because it does quite literally throw you in the first 5 minutes into the middle of the story. Like all that plot summary, we got the banner up. The plot summary you just described, I had no idea was there until 5 hours in.
What?
And
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know how much you want me to talk about this, but I will say light spoilers for the first 5 minutes of me talking. The game is really amazing. It's like a deck builder, and the actual deck builder mechanics are really good. It's like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone, and it's easy to pick up. Some friends that I was talking about it on Twitter were like, oh, I don't know about deck builders. It seems hard, and I just can't get into that. And I say, it's okay. The rules are spoon-fed to you in a way that you understand it. I will say the way that they explain it and the atmosphere, it's like described as a horror deck builder. And it really is unsettling the way that they set it all up, because you're playing a deck game with probably the best DM I have ever come across. You're playing across the table from a person or monster that all you can see is their eyes. And he is talking to you ominously through the rules. And whenever you play, you're playing on a map that unrolls, and you can select nodes similar to a lot of indie games like FTL or other roguelikes like Slay the Spire. And you just move along and you play these battles with like Hearthstone. And then when you get to a boss, the DM puts on a mask and the entire setting around the table changes to match the boss.
That's cool.
And the entire way, a lot like Hades, every time you die, you actually progress. And the way that you die is really interesting. Again, like I've got maybe like a little bit of spoiler-free stuff left, but I'll go into how when you die, some really cool stuff happens. But at any point, you can walk away from the table and explore the cabin that you're in. And there are little like trinkets and stuff. And there's like an ominous door that is flashing lights behind it. And there's a lot of mystery. So you're already thrust into the middle of no story, no context. You're playing a game that you're kind of used to if you play indie games, which is like a card roguelike deck builder, but in any way you can break away from it. It's almost like breaking the fourth wall. And there are a lot of those moments where it's breaking the fourth wall, and a big one 5 hours in. So anyway, that's like spoiler free. I could talk about more, but honestly,
now I want to play it. Like I didn't.
You should totally play it.
And
I
home looking at our like screenshot here, like it's the actual home screen from the website for Inscryption. You've got these white cutout pieces here. They were definitely clickable in the game. We just talked about the floppy disk. It could be floppy disk in the upper right hand corner. We're seeing that are kind of like sticky tape to this definitely cathode ray tube monitor. That's definitely a floppy disk reader on the right hand side. There's teeth just chilling by the computer monitor in this shot as well, and it's very like even the mouse itself's got the old school 3 buttons versus like the standard 2 or none if you're a Magic Mouse user. So like I definitely to just even go into the site to try to get some like press images. The homepage greeted me like this. I was immediately kind of like, all right, let's. I bought it again. For no fucking reason, but dude,
we're gonna get you a new computer. Okay, like it's my goal.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
I got 5 on it.
Yeah, hit up Jedith.
Actually, I got a bunch of
YouTube,
fucking parts.
like, hey, you got
like
any
no
old
bullshit.
Me too. We could
probably finagle most of a computer together based on the parts I have. I know I have a case. I know I have 64 gigs of RAM.
I'll buy whatever is missing.
I know I have
a lot of RAM.
Yeah,
all the RAM.
I have 4 sticks to Trident Z Neo, like good shit. I got good shit. I got an AIO
sounds like
that
something from
I got
Aquaman
fans
and the Matrix.
I got a
don't know what you're talking
Mobo.
about.
You just need a processor and a video card.
We got a guy. We got a guy here.
Yeah. Where do you live?
I just
What's your
rebuilt my
home address?
machine.
For people at home.
Yeah.
Can we dox you?
Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.
Okay.
It's a big white house.
I didn't know Sleepy Joe was a gamer. That's awesome.
I call him Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe. That's right. That's right. I think my favorite Obama, and before we switch on, my favorite Obama and Biden meme was always where Obama's leaning down at him, and they're definitely in the Senate, and he's like, "If you don't put that laser pointer away, I will take it from you." Yeah.
Those are so great.
Like, oh man,
that's hilarious.
Next up is Subnautica Below Zero. This one's actually a pretty small plot summary, so I'll just be quick. The player controls the lone survivor named Riley Robinson of a waylaid spacecraft called the Aurora, stranded on a remote planet called 4546b. Who came up with that name? Somebody just ran their fingers across the keyboard. 4546b.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
also on Windows.
The name of it probably doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
So
it would come in. Oh man, what's the secret code to get in this final dungeon? I bet it's 45462, because it's where the letter A B is. Oh my god.
Maybe.
Spoilers.
Space is big. That's what the name's for. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This planet. What do you call it? I don't know. What am I, a name? What am I, a name factory?
Yeah.
Give it a number.
What does it do?
Yeah,
Well, it
give
keeps
it- give
shit
it some
fresh.
number.
Well, then that's a fresher.
Yeah.
I'm going on break. So, Dom, I think you've been
Man,
playing
really
this
so
Subnautica.
good.
What do you think of this game?
Yeah, I was bored and was like, I'm gonna buy a game, and like, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was like,
Couldn't
it was coming off of
buy
like a
Guardians of the
13-hour
Galaxy,
workday.
and, like, I just want to play something.
Right. It
else.
was like I couldn't buy Guardians of the Galaxy.
I just want to
like,
shoot
I
stuff.
just want to fucking buy something. This game is like No Man's Sky, but underwater.
Mm.
Like I get the same kind of vibes from it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I think it's cool. It's like there's a survival mode where like you have to like worry about your oxygen level and your food level and your like your radiation and health and all that material. And then there's like a free mode where you can like build anything you want and go anywhere you want and explore and like see all the sea creatures and stuff. And that's what all I wanted to do. I was like, oh, I'll buy this and I'll give it a shot. It's cool. It's on PC. It's a relatively small game, like as far as downloads are concerned. It's like less than 10 gigs, I think. I think it was like 8.5 gigs, which is cool. You can like build like submarines and go explore and go to like really deep water and see cool creatures. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's neat. Like I said, I needed something that was kind of mindless where I was like, you know, I'll have a cocktail and like play a little bit of video game, something that does like, because I was like beating my fucking head against the wall with Hades because I just kept fucking dying, and I was like,
dude, oof.
And that game is fucking amazing. But I was like, I need something stupid that is just like, all right.
Like Subnautica's I would say not a chill game if you have any sort of like fear of the deep waters.
Yeah,
but also
yeah,
in general,
these games are not my jam.
I
can't do it.
Did you play the first one, Dom? Or
yeah, no, I played the first one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This isn't
Like
VR. This is just straight up normal gameplay, keyboard mouse controller, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
they do it.
It
Subnautica has a VR component. There's I have a Rift S. I think that's the VR headset.
Is that at
It's been in the
1001
fucking
Pennsylvania Avenue?
It's-
That Rift
It's been in the
headset?
cabinet for fucking 8-9 months. I've used it to play Beat Saber one time, and I was like, and then I played Half-Life Alyx, and I'm like, this is cool, but I like to sit down and play video games. So.
I gotta stand. I gotta crouch. Ugh.
That's why you get the
I gotta
Peloton.
swim in
It's got a
Subnautica.
chair,
No
you know?
way.
Right.
Um,
It's cool though.
the-
No, the Subnautica is cool. I think it's cool. Like if you're like what Sean was saying and what Justin alluded to, if you're not a fan of the deep ocean, this is not the game for you. Because there is some thalassophobia triggers in it, especially being, a couple thousand meters deep in the ocean and then having a giant Leviathan style creature attack you from, the darkness and all that stuff.
It's cool.
I
put the
love the
spoiler
ocean.
banner up for people watching. No big deal.
It's not a.
I think that's always like a present threat, though. Like you'll be in both games, you'll be at some point where, I'm just going to go to this place that there's a very deep chasm below me. And you could just stare into the void, and the void stares back, and suddenly, rawr, something like comes from left field, and it could be a little blow up. Like it could be a little pufferfish that blows up, and that's still just as scary as the giant Titan like monster that will also come and bite you. And the threat is always there. I don't think that's a spoiler. That's like probably the main reason half of the people play is that it's almost a horror game. And then the other half, like a nice, chill building sim.
That's me.
And they're woefully.
That was me.
And
I was like,
no,
this is kind of cool. It's like No Man's Sky underwater.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was cool. Because what I do is I'll put on like Microsoft Flight Simulator while I work. And I'll have I'll do like a flight from like Nepal to like Tokyo.
Nice.
So you could fly over it and be like, this is kind of cool and all that stuff. And I just wanted a chill game where I could build stuff underwater. I didn't realize it had such a cult following where people are like, this is real scary. I don't like flying over water as a person because like if the plane goes down, I don't want to be in a castaway style situation where I'm just in the middle of the fucking ocean.
I want to find like a
Same.
I want to be
Dharma
over a mountain
initiative
and
base,
just if
and
it
I just
goes
wanna-
down, there's no shot at me
I want to
walking
enter
away
5
from
numbers in a row to keep the shit from blowing up, like the whole nine. Put a hazmat suit on me for
Yep.
years. I could give a shit. It's honestly, it's my biggest dream. If we go down, it's why like even when I
Your
travel, I
biggest
randomly
dream.
Your
I
biggest
travel with a
dream. Okay.
well, yeah, well, you know, if
needs
you're
some
gonna
new
go
dreams,
down,
man.
at least have like cool dreams go down. So even when I travel, I always travel with a battery pack, but it's also got solar charging on it, it's just in case. Because guess who's gonna have light?
That's
This
smart.
guy's gonna have light, but everybody else.
That's smart in general.
Ernie, you just
Yeah.
spent a month in the hospital. What makes you fucking think you're going to be able to fucking survive in the
Dude,
wilderness?
I spent a month in the hospital.
He didn't die in the hospital.
That's why I'm
He
afraid
didn't
of
die in the
everything
hospital. He's a
now.
survivor.
I wasn't prepared for the hospital. And that's why I was there. Now I'm prepared for Dharma Initiative type islands.
Now
You
you're
never know.
prepared for crashing in the ocean.
Yeah, yeah. This season on Lost, it's me and John Locke, and we're living in the light. You know what I'm saying? The other thing about
He used to come
Subnautica-
into our old job.
Yes, he did.
Did you know that?
Yes, he did.
He used to come to our old
That
job.
actor used to come into the Apple store in Norfolk.
Huh.
He lives in Tidewater. Nicest guy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to mention before we move on, the reason that you're right, the reason that Leviathan should not have been a spoiler is because we learned everything from the Phantom Menace we need to know about the deep water is that there's always a bigger fish. So it shouldn't be
Shout out to Liam Neeson.
Surprise, you know. What? And
That's
hey,
right.
Liam, stop declining our offer to be on the show, Dick. But moving right along.
Hey, Blizzard's back on our show.
Oh,
We took a
yeah.
5-week break and still Blizzard's back
Blizzard.
on our show.
You were
By
on
the way,
such a
yeah.
good. This is like reset the clock. 90 days since last bullshit.
Yeah, it's like was it Man of Steel where like they fly into that sign and it's like 400 days since last accident, and then they fly into the sign and it's like 0 days since last accident.
This isn't an accident, but
Oh,
yeah,
she
it
definitely
still
is
stands.
leaving on fucking purpose. Jen
True.
Oneal,
Yeah.
who just became the co-lead of Blizzard Activision 3 months ago, is actually departing at the end of the year. Right now, she's moving out of her co-lead role, and this is her statement that she gave. She said, "I want you to hear from me personally that I have made. I can't really do a high-pitched voice these days, so I'm going to keep it normal, and I don't want to offend. But personally, that I
Good
have
plan.
made the decision to step away from co-leading Blizzard Entertainment and will transition to a new position before departing ABK." Activision Blizzard King at the end of the year. I am doing this not because I am without hope for Blizzard. Quite the opposite. I'm inspired by the
It's nice
passion
to
of
have
everyone
hope.
here, working towards meaningful, lasting change with their whole hearts. This energy has inspired me to step out and explore how I can do more to have games and diversity intersect and hopefully make a broader industry impact that will benefit Blizzard and other studios as well.
God, I bet the PR department of Blizzard was high-fiving the fuck
Yeah, dude.
out
Yeah,
of
dude.
themselves. You
Um,
could have. She probably said all that. There was probably a lot of air quotes that they were like, "Let's just remove those," and bam, easy, done.
This
Oh.
energy has inspired me. Yeah.
Here's my quick take on that.
Yeah.
Obviously I don't know her. I don't know anyone. I know like 2 people who work at Blizzard, but I don't know anyone meaningful at Blizzard.
Everybody's meaningful at Blizzard, man. Stay
I
woke,
am-
bro.
rip
Stay
those-
woke.
Rip those 2 people you know that work at Blizzard.
Yeah,
That's
out
not
'em.
what I mean.
Dox them.
Actually, I think one of them left. Anyway,
Yeah.
so my quick take on this is, she probably was inspired. That's probably a
Fair
truthful
enough.
statement that she's inspired to do more. And she's probably realizing that the most that she can do that will have a long-lasting, impactful change to Blizzard is create ripples elsewhere,
True.
and that Blizzard will have to react to
True.
and follow suit. Because, I can't imagine sculpting stone with wooden tools, and that's what
Oh,
That's what it would
fucking
feel
good.
like.
I'm stealing that line.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
good-
sorry. I'm
that's a
stealing
good,
that shit.
analogy.
I'm stealing that.
That's what it would feel like to implement that sort of change
Yeah.
at a company that is intrinsically built sort of against those values.
Yeah. Well put.
And we've seen it. We've seen it so much, and Blizzard's going through a lot of shit right now, and they're losing a lot of their fan base because they can't manage to get projects done because nobody wants to fucking work there.
Yeah.
Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2
Yep.
also just got pushed again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're like their leads are done.
Yeah.
And you can't, if you don't have people working on projects that feel like they can safely come to work every day, you don't get work done. And if you don't get work done, you don't get projects done, and then your fan base doesn't have games to play, and then they look elsewhere for games. And like that's just how it goes. Blizzard's got a lot of shit to figure out.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And just the thing that makes me the most mad about not the thing that makes me the most mad about the Blizzard situation, because there's a lot of that, but lately the news that made me the most mad was that after all of the lawsuit, after all of the everything that sort of came to a head with Blizzard, that Bobby Kotick settled for like 15 million or something,
which
that's
is
like
less than his bonus last year.
Yeah,
less than
that.
his
Like,
bonus.
and I know he's come out and said, like, I want them to give me no bonuses. I want them to reduce my pay to the legal minimum amount that California will allow. Blah 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 blah. Sure, that's all well and good. That doesn't create long-lasting change within your company.
True.
Yeah,
that's just you trying to do PR for yourself, so that when you get all those things back, hopefully nobody will notice.
No, very true. Very true, man.
Great headline. Great headline. Ooh, multi-million salary CEO gets dropped to 80K. Wow. All right.
Yeah. The rest of the show notes from Mahaffey read, Blizzard will be making a $1 million grant to Women in Games International, where Oneal is actually a board member. Didn't know that. Before she fully leaves Activision Blizzard at the end of the year, she will actually work to determine the first steps around how the grant will be utilized and its structure. Activision Blizzard has also undergone, obviously, significant changes we talked about at length on the show, and we just talked about it. Actually, Justin, you brought it up. Bobby Kotick, he took a massive pay cut, $80K a year, thank you, Sean, and actually ended forced arbitration last week. In addition, they've actually made other, obvious staff changes, but this company is also, they've already canceled BlizzCon 2021. Yep. They're obviously making other games, I guess, free of references that are a little problematic. That's a fucking polite word, problematic. Including changing Jesse McCree's name, who was named after a former lead designer, and vowed to remove references that are not appropriate for our world in World of Warcraft. Yeah. I think it's a good call. That's a
Blizzard's not doing. I don't know how they're going to be able to come back from. Like you say that, like, oh, they're never going to be able to come back from it, and 9 times out of 10 companies typically do come back from shit like this. This has been really eye-opening for a lot of people. And the ramifications for this keep getting worse and worse. Like just from their consumer standpoint, I mean, they announced 9.2 today for WoW. They've completely cut 9.3 out from the game because they don't have the resources to do it, and they're ending the Shadowlands expansion at 9.2, and nobody fucking cares.
Dude,
nobody
at all.
cares.
It
like,
didn't even
no
one
one
Slack chat about it. We didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
We were actually like,
they
no
ruined.
offense, we were more excited about just talking to Justin than even like 9.1.5 when I was in the hospital when it came out back in August. I was more pumped about talking to Justin in 2.5 months than a game that I'm actively paying money for. No offense, Justin. We haven't exchanged money.
No, you're fine.
But
when all this happened, there were like massive in-server sit-in protests where people would just log in to sit around with their friends and not have any interaction with the game, and just put strain on the servers. And there would be shifts. People would be like, oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta log out, can somebody come take my spot? There'd be like giant hordes of people just like clogging up cities and stuff. Because,
and it's super unfortunate because, like, look, I played Warcraft like religiously. 3 of my raiding guilds quit the game completely.
Yep.
None of my friends play that game anymore.
Yep.
I have no desire to play the game anymore. I don't even have BattleNet installed on my computer anymore because I was like, I'm not playing
why waste
Diablo
those-
2 Resurrected.
Yeah. Why?
I'm not playing Diablo 3. I'm not playing Warcraft. I'm not playing fucking Call of Duty. And like I don't have, and like the thing is, like I don't have a game to go to that like I had that with, like that I built that kind of like. Everybody's like, go to Final Fantasy 14, and I played the shit out of Final Fantasy 14, and it's beautiful, and like I love that game, but like Blizzard, all Blizzard had to do was just not be a shitty company. Like that's all they had to do
for most companies.
Yeah.
Right, just don't be a shitty company.
Just don't be a
Your
shitty
products
company.
speak for themselves. It's like it's like They're not like Apple, but all Apple had to do was
Don't tell me I got to burn my only computer that works right now.
No. No, all Apple really has to do is to continue to shoot for the middle, and everybody's going to buy their stuff. But like, it's really you cannot justify anything.
You have to go out of your way to be a scumbag. You know what I'm saying? Like it's literally easier just to be.
Someone
nice.
fucking died.
Yeah.
Okay. A woman killed herself because of it. That's like
There's
shut the shit down.
Yeah.
Like
that's
nuke and repay. That's it. Like.
I will say one thing about somebody brought up if you're going to boycott Blizzard, you need to boycott where the upper like executives feel it. But if you boycott the game, there's a lot of employees at Blizzard that put their heart and soul into it, and to not play that actually puts their well-being in jeopardy, and also the things that they put blood and sweat into. It's tough because you uninstall BattleNet and you're not supporting Blizzard for more reasons, which I totally get. But there is something to be said about like Diablo 2, the remake was amazing. And it took teams of people that we should show appreciation to that had nothing to do with all of that. It's so tough, but because how do you really target only the executives and the middle management that are making those bad people? Because it's easy and it's easy to be it's actually very easy to be a shitty company. It takes a consistent effort to have a consistent like culture of positivity and a lack of toxicness to be a good company. And it's actually I think very easy to slip into being a ignorant company that leads to shitty, terrible choices. So
and I can give you a really good example of a company who actively goes out of their way to make sure that they stay above board and do all the things to benefit everyone who works there. If we want to pivot to that, we don't have to pivot that.
No.
I have to know. You can't leave me hanging.
Well, it's Supergiant, obviously.
Oh yes. Oh my God, Supergiant.
Hell yeah.
Supergiant is
class acts.
Just an incredible company, and in part of the No Clip Hades documentary series, Greg, who's the creative director, was talking about the company itself and how they run things, and there are so many sort of company I don't want to say culture necessarily, but like there are things that they've set up in the company. One of those used to be, hey, work whenever you want to work, take off whatever, if you don't want to work, if you need time off, if you want to go on vacation, do whatever, like do it, do what you need to do. And they realized that that's actually not beneficial because there's a lot of passionate people that work in games. And so they still had people that were putting in overtime. They still had people that were working, 6 or 8 months and not taking any time off because they really believed in the project they were doing.
Wow.
And they said, okay, let's change this. Let's take a different approach. So now the policy is every member of the company is required to take off 20 days a year. You are required to not be in office 20 days. However you want to do it. If you don't want to work Fridays for the last half of the year, go for it. If you want to take all 20 days off in a row, do it. Totally up to you. But you have to be out of work 20 days a year. and it forces people to plan vacations. It forces people to plan around, okay, I'm really involved in what I'm doing, but I have to take these 20 days. So let me think about how I want to work that into my schedule. And there's all these other things that they put into place where it just sort of it helps prevent people from slipping into that like toxic crunch game development culture. One of the other things is like no work communications after 5 on a Friday. If you want to work all weekend and be really passionate about something and just dig into it all night, go for it. Don't pull other people into it, because you're going to get other people excited, then they're going to work all weekend, and they're going to be burnt out by Monday. Like, do the things that you want to do, and if that's how you want to work, then go for it. But try to keep it concise to you.
Yeah.
They're really brilliant ideas,
and the quality comes through. Like what you were saying before is like technically not an indie game, but a small team. I mean, you compare it to AAA. But the quality of Hades is just...
I think the term is sort of triple I. Like they're sort of at the top level of indie.
Not to be confused with the Triple Lindy from Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh jeez.
Deep cuts.
But yeah, I mean Hades won like 50 Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
And like just absolutely was a global phenomenon from a team of
like
17 people.
Yeah, like under 20. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
The
whole like culture thing is Supergiant is the like the shining example of how you get a team that all agrees that there are limits. But when you introduce a big company like Activision with a board of stakeholders and shareholders that all have like very different levels or different ideas of what a successful company is, it takes advantage of those passionate people, because all those employees, they're the same passionate people at Supergiant that want to work on the weekend because they love what they do. But you've got shitty people that take advantage of that. But luckily at Supergiant, you've got people in control that see the problem of in the games industry, game development industry, where you have all these people that are they're workaholics, but others they're passionate about it and say, no, let's put limits on it, because it will only benefit us in the long run.
Yep.
And it'll only mean like employee retention is something that you don't think of coming out of college because you're hungry.
Yeah.
But
very quickly,
you certainly don't think of it when you're say we can just hire 300 more freelancers to get over this next DLC, and it creates a vicious cycle.
Well, and Supergiant has, I think there were 7 people originally who worked on Bastion, and I'm pretty sure all 7 are still there. Like the whole original crew is still there. Gen Z still the art director, Darren Korb's still the audio director. Like they are still the core of that whole company, and it's kind of unheard of.
I definitely am envious of the people that work there. Maybe they are hiring. We don't know. Just kidding.
They hire every once in a while.
You guys are class acts. I'm sticking around for a while. You have to kick me the fuck out. Mike, whatever actually just said, I'd love to see a company offer time and a half for PTO. Now that's out of the box thinking. Let's go double. Let's double down. Double pay. Make me want to go on vacation.
Double dip?
Because I just want to, not do shit for several days. Could you imagine? Like, I'm a little hungover. Sunday was a great day. Just got Sunday fun day, and then Monday double time.
Let's extend that.
Yeah, people are going to become alcoholics real quick. But moving right along.
You mean you're not already?
Well, come on, man. Well, I can't be anymore. Unfortunately, that's just not in the cards. According to the physician.
I'll drink enough for both of us.
Thanks,
don't worry about it.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Coming soon is our next segment. We're going to move right along. We're actually going to kind of blow through the next couple of ones pretty quickly, mainly because there's only 4. And then we're going to get into the new releases after that. But coming soon, the biggest one is tomorrow. Actually, probably midnight. Or probably 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time because, weird. But Disney Day, tomorrow, big things happening. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is coming out. Disney's Jungle Cruise is coming out. Home Sweet Home Alone.
Yeah.
For those reading at home, you can or watching it right now, you can read the rest. But there's a bunch of special looks, a bunch of trailers and stuff like that.
yeah.
But the biggest thing I wanted to tell everybody about is that a lot of the films that are already on Disney Plus are coming out in IMAX resolution. So if you're watching at home, you got those thick black bars at the top and bottom. Well, they're not going to be there for a lot of these films. For instance, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is going to have that IMAX resolution. So it's going to be pretty much full screen if you have fancy TVs like Dom does. And you're going to see more
I don't have any
content.
TVs. I'm Amish.
Wait.
What's that?
Look to your right.
Is that that's a strange shaped thing behind you?
That's just a wall.
It's my
that's
basket weaving station.
Oh yeah, that's where
there's basket weaving. Oh come on!
It's a giant sensor block he just has in his house. It's actually.
I like the Dom. I like the loading bar to figure out what you were gonna call it.
I was thinking, dude. I was like, what am I gonna call it?
But no, I'm excited for that. Obviously, I haven't seen Shang-Chi.
I'm really excited that you finally get people finally get to see movies that I have watched multiple times in the theaters.
My favorite thing is because it's the IMAX resolution, it's not actually taking things in and chopping things off. It's actually adding more content to the top and the bottom, including movies like Black Widow and things like that. So you're actually getting more of this extra world feel. So if you spent all that money on a tight bezel TV at home, or if you did whatever, you're actually still finally getting all the extra content that was filmed. It was flipping filmed. It was there the whole time.
I saw in theaters.
Oh, come on. How many masks do you wear? None. Shut your face.
Hey,
come on.
Listen, I'm double vaxxed. I wear a mask. I don't sit next to people in the theaters. I got
all the hemoglobins too, right?
I don't have kids. Everybody that I know has children, and
that's right. You're a dink. You're double income, no kids.
Yeah. So movies are the way that I
want to be a dink for a day. Woo.
It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. Like I said.
Now you're a double dink.
He's a double dink.
He's a triple D.
Director. Oh my god! Can't fit too many D's on the dance floor.
I love it. The worst
part
about
Shang-Chi
Disney,
though.
I will.
Oh, dude,
Simu Liu is amazing.
Super pumped about it. I watched it by Methods, and there is plenty of room at the Hotel California,
methods.
Right, Dom? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, bro. Spoilers. Where's that banner? Not on this page. Nobody knows what that means. But next, for Disney Plus Day, 2 days in a row, at 3 p.m. my time, I failed to get the Disney NFT collection Golden Moments on DVD. That's right.
Thank God.
I spent $60 real on 60 fake gems to not buy an NFT. Also, there's no way to withdraw my money. It's just stuff.
Wait, you paid for an NFT you're not going to get?
You have to buy gems to then use as currency to buy an NFT with VV.
All you people are getting finessed.
It's like real money, but more fun.
Yeah.
You are making Disney rich by buying shit that doesn't exist.
Their earnings call was abysmal. Lowest earning call in the past year they had, and yet they still got $69. Crazy.
So you're helping them. You're helping them out.
So there's a related to the NFT discussion.
Talk to me.
There's a tweet that went out earlier today, from the guy who developed the technology for NFTs, and he I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the whole NFT blockchain code was written as part of a hackathon in 2 days.
That's my money.
Yeah. And the idea was, okay, we can store image data in code so that when you purchase your token, you're actually purchasing the image, except that it doesn't actually work. It doesn't work that way, and they never got it to work that way. So what you're purchasing is a link to an image, and those links have to be hosted.
Damn.
So literally all NFTs are scams because, as he pointed out in the tweet, a bunch of these companies are just startups that are going to die in a couple of years.
I don't even have one.
I can attest to being in one of those companies that did exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And also did exactly what you just said, which died in a couple of years.
Yep.
And it was just like having an Amazon S3 bucket and a database that would point to them. There is nothing magical. You're buying a string of numbers that hopefully when you
Hopefully
put it
will
in
lead you to the image
hopefully
that
lead
you
you-
own.
You miss
Right,
one bit and
right.
it changes a
Yeah.
to a F and you're effed.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Or hey, Amazon web servers are down. Fuck you. You can't look at your
Yeah.
at your painting.
They
Like
couldn't even
Yeah.
afford to 64 base encode these images. That's alphanumeric string.
they
WTF.
Yeah,
They-
but what are you encoding?
That's
yeah.
what I'm
You're
saying.
not encoding the image because
You're
you
gonna
can't
do an
store
image,
that in the code.
fonts with 64 base alphanumeric. Easy technology. This has been around
I
for
think-
ages.
I think the
hash
NFT
code?
revolution is amazing because I don't fucking
Because it
understand
do
It
it.
is-
I don't understand it. And it's people buying fucking pictures on the internet, and it's, dude.
The worst part about NFTs for me as a pixel artist is that there are so many NFTs that are just really like generic crap level pixel art that are generated so they're unique and people are buying them with like 5 10 Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's 48 grand that you just pumped into some bullshit little generated pixel image for no fucking reason.
I mean, think
Like,
about it.
welcome-
If you
for real?
make- if you
Welcome
make
to
an
the world
image
of-
that
of
has
high-end
77
art.
different parts, and that 77 different parts is 77 different options. It's 77 to the power of 2 different options. And if anybody buys it for $1,
All right, now do
Holy
it
shit.
for a video.
yeah,
Now
exactly.
encode a video with
Exactly.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's wild.
almost dumbfoundingly stupid. Now, granted, I do appreciate Boss Logic and all his super sweet like Photoshop stuff that he does for Marvel and DC and whatever. All
That
this
guy
pop
has a
culture
car
stuff.
collection that is better than any other car collection I've ever
He's
seen.
got a mustache
so.
better than my mustache. Like, he's already beating me without actually doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And he's like from Australia, so he's got a sweet accent. We won't stand a chance. But like, and then he like has all these different Thanos glove NFTs now. Yeah, I mean, he's
So wait,
happier than
what
a
was
piece of
the-
shit, man. Just
What
covered
was
in
the
money.
exact NFT you were trying to get? I know I stay away from this.
So VV is
specific
partnered with
thing.
Disney for the past 4 days, and I believe tomorrow's a secret one, supposedly. Each day they roll out 2 different NFTs that are more or less virtual golden statues. The same statues, I believe, that are actually outside of Cinera's castle for the 50th anniversary in Disney World right now. That they are these 3D models of like Wall-E for Pixar, or C-3PO and R2-D2 for Star Wars, or Iron Man or whatever. I believe tomorrow is a one-off drop for Walt and Mickey holding hands, which is kind of cool. At the same time, I just wanted to kind of have a little bit of like emotional connection. If I was going to buy an NFT in general, like I wasn't just going to get a fucking glove or like an 8-bit avatar or some shit. I wanted to have a little bit of nostalgia. And they saw me coming from a mile out. They were like, look at this
God,
guy.
that's-
He's got a whole show about nostalgia. Fucking, you know, his money.
I think what really happened is this is like if Dom had to buy another currency with real money to then purchase Guardians of the Galaxy.
I tried to do it.
No, what I'm saying,
If you went
Yes,
to
you
Walmart
tried to
to
do
buy the NFT,
but for Ernie, that was his only choice to get it. Oh, here,
Yeah.
spend your real money on this other currency,
That
and
doesn't
then
exist.
maybe
Yeah.
you can get
Gems.
this NFT.
They didn't
know,
have, like,
this
come up with
model-
a fun name. It's just gems.
this model was invented by Disney. Oh, what's the difference between real US dollars and itchy and scratchy money? Oh, it's the same, but more fun.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
you can't spend it.
And it's
All right.
Disney Plus.
I'm
baby.
still having a really hard time grasping what an NFT is. Just answer me this.
Okay,
Is an NFT the millennial, actually the Gen Z version of Beanie Babies?
no,
At least you have it
Because-
already.
because
You actually get a Beanie Baby and you don't get an NFT.
Yeah, and some McDonald's.
So that's
with their
reason
Happy
one.
Meal.
That's reason one. The other reason is that Beanie Babies were made in sets, so they had rarity, but they didn't have uniqueness.
Mm.
So you could have a Beanie Baby that was super rare, but there were like 100 other people that did,
Yeah.
or 1,000 other people that did. They weren't unique Beanie Baby,
NFTs are
Beanie Baby.
unique.
Unique are
It's
NFTs
like buying
are
a Monet.
Yeah, it's like a non-fungible token. It's a distinct, unique code that ties to a unique something else. And the hype is that you're buying ownership of digital media, digital content. But really, you're just buying a link to something and hoping that it's still there.
Yeah, I would.
Ernie, have you lost your goddamn mind?
Ernie, you know.
Okay?
All right. I'm playing devil's advocate. Ernie wanted to get that sweet payday of flipping a $60 bullshit link into
they're all
$1
going
million.
for like $500 a pop 2 minutes later.
Right,
like,
exactly,
on,
and that's what
Yeah,
this is.
Let me get this Xbox Series S for free. For 60
It's not a
bucks.
fiat currency. We got ourselves a new form of currency, and now there's just a billion of them. Instead of
There's
buying
too
yeah,
many currencies. It's like World of Warcraft. There's
you
too
flip
many
it.
goddamn currencies.
Yeah.
Can I
Well,
just use $1?
I mean,
You mean
he-
it- you mean it-
does Ernie
it's like-
own Bitcoin?
it's like World of
Yeah.
Warcraft
Do I own
was.
Shiba Inu or whatever fucking coin and Doge and all the other ones?
Oh.
Yeah, I own a bunch of that shit too.
Yeah, I had some Doge. I made like, what did I make? I made like $600 in Doge.
See?
Nice.
Real
Yeah,
money to
I
be
bought
made.
I bought a new king bed.
Ooh.
Nice.
I cashed out all my Dogecoin and got a new
God,
king bed.
I held on and I
Um,
was dumb. I
Yeah,
I was-
it dived. It dived.
I was up to $4,000, but I held on,
Oh.
and now it's back down to like $800.
Yeah. Oh fuck, man. That's.
I was like diamond hands, and now I'm like diamond hands.
You know it's bad when Dom grabs his own forehead. I'm like, oh,
I
So
just don't
it's-
understand it. Like, I guess I'm just old school, and
It's
I'm like,
gambling.
cool. Like,
probably better.
It's
I
Probably
got
for the better,
I'm
man.
gonna invest in real estate.
It's gambling. Yeah, it's real estate.
It's
Except
So-
fucking non-fungible token.
the house,
And I still don't know what
can
that
burn
means.
down at any time.
It can.
I could
it's,
lose the link to this
it's
fucking
literally.
picture of a dick. I don't know.
Oh shit!
Um,
you mean Dickcoin? Yeah,
No.
yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
I'll buy
If there's
that.
Bitcoin, I'm jumping out the window right
no, there isn't. But there was a Squid Game coin. Somebody
Oh
made
my
a Squid
God.
Game coin.
And it
Here's-
died
okay, here's-
immediately.
Here's
You can just
the
die.
deal.
Oh,
They made a Squid Game coin,
calm
and
down.
everybody jumped on it because of the popularity of Squid Game.
Mhm.
Except all of the development team who were going to work on the actual coin code abandoned the project like within 24 hours. And so Squid Coin sold like $11 million of Squid Coin in one day. And then,
Is that American?
yep.
Bro,
And then
it dumped.
and then everybody dumped.
Yeah.
Dumped. It went to
So
zero
literally,
in like milliseconds.
The graph is like dead.
Just clipped.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
one
T-shirt.
day,
It's an upside down
completely
T.
dead.
Yeah, I watched that
it
video of
wasn't
that dude
just-
just being like just obliterated, like hundreds of thousands of dollars went to zero, and he was like, his brain collapsed.
I have
Are
not
none
seen
of these
that
people
video.
married?
No, they're like,
If
dude,
I bought
they're sinks, not dinks.
$100,000 worth of something called
Not anymore.
Squid Game coin, my wife would fucking murder me
Well, if you buy it cheap, and then you're like,
and
oh my
bury my
god,
body in the backyard.
and you're just like jerking off while you're hitting refresh to see how much money your like Squid Games coin is going on to, and then you're like,
Listen,
and all of a sudden
if
your
I went to
wife
my
is
wife and be like,
Yeah,
hey,
Going in.
just like that, Ernie.
Ash, I got a new hot take. There's something
Okay.
called Dogecoin. What's a Doge? Well, it's a fucking Shiba Inu that looks funny and it's real money, but we're gonna use real money. And it's not real money, but like I can sell it for real money.
Dude.
She's gonna be like, no. What do you mean?
But, okay,
like,
so
it-
You just don't
Ernie
know how
did
to
it.
sell to your
But
wife.
Ernie did it.
Ernie did it.
So Dom,
Justin
let me
made $600.
Dom, let me give you the hot tip. So it hasn't been announced yet. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yo, my man is about to be like Kingdom Hearts coin.
No.
Anything. You can spend
Um,
be
Is the plot like the value? I don't understand it. But people find
There's-
value in it.
There is a crypto coin called Loop Ring.
Ah, yes, loop ring.
I thought you were going to
Yeah,
call it Lichum, like your
um,
last name backwards.
No, I don't own it. I just have a bunch of it. Loop Ring. There was a GitHub link that tied Loop Ring to possibly to the GameStop NFT market. So loop ring's gone up like 4,000% in the last year.
It's nuts. It's so nuts.
Like, so I bought into loop ring when it was like, I don't know, like 40 cents, 50 cents, something like that. So it's sitting around like 350 right now.
You had it a while ago.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. It has spiked. It's gone up like whole dollars in the last couple days.
Kingdom Heart coin value -8 cents.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be the single asshole in like 6 months holding my dick on this, and you guys are gonna be on yachts doing the podcast.
Speaking of,
I'm gonna be in my room and be like,
whatever.
"Hey guys, I got a
sweet
TV.
Dick coin,
well, I got a helicopter."
I would never buy a yacht.
There's no money in
but
that.
you don't
Have
like
you
the
seen Below
ocean,
Deck on Bravo? Those people are trash. They're garbage people. I'm looking at you, Johnny Damon. You've been on there twice, and the value just went immediately down.
Dom's going to find out that Loop Ring is owned by one person, and he bought it, and it's Justin created Loop Ring.
Man, I wish.
I'm gonna be the one that's driving up the price for him.
I don't have a lot of
sucker.
I don't have a lot of loop ring, but I've already like tripled what I put in like a couple days.
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
I got money. I think it's time to start investing, guys.
Well,
give me that dick coin.
Well, enough about cock ring or coin or whatever it's called. Moving right along into another word I can't pronounce. Chukwudi Iwuji. That sounds about right. Beautiful man here from Peacemaker, working with James Gunn recently. He said has actually been cast in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The reason this is important is two things. One, who do you think he's going to be? Two, James Gunn on Twitter said the reason he is cast in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is because he enjoyed working with him so much and was such a good actor and presence on Peacemaker that he just did with the bulk version of Ernest P. Worrell, a.k.a. John Cena, that he decided he's got to keep him around, got to keep him work with him, so he's cast him on Guardians of the Galaxy. Dom and I are definitely of the same school of thought, who we hope he's going to be. Dom, I'd love for you to just go a little bit down a conspiracy theory hole and elaborate.
My man here.
Cock ring.
He's about to break it down.
Whatever it's called.
Look, we're going to talk about Eternals. None of you people have seen Eternals.
That's next.
I'm not going to talk about Eternals. That's fine. We're getting into Cosmic Marvel. Okay? I'm calling it right now. This guy is Norrin Rad. And Norrin Rad is the Silver Surfer, aka the Herald of Galactus.
That would be dope.
Love to hear it.
We're getting into the Celestials. We're getting into that. The writers from Eternals hinted in an interview today that we've opened the door for Galactus.
Damn right.
Galactus could be coming.
Yeah.
James Gunn has said that his character is extremely important. It is a character that a lot of people have wanted to play. For those of you who don't remember the Fantastic Four movie Rise of the Silver Surfer, where my boy Chris Evans was Johnny Storm.
Poor guy.
Before he was Captain America. Lawrence Fishburne played Norrin Rad.
Jessica Alba played the Invisible Woman.
Jessica Alba. Yeah, Invisible Woman.
Storm.
Johan Grycuff played Mr. Fantastic, and Michael Chiklis played the Thing.
Damn.
Yeah, right?
And the guy from Nip Tuck was...
I remember everything.
Yeah.
Right, the guy from Nip Tuck was fucking...
Yeah.
This is why I don't know math.
No, so I think I would like to see him play Norrin Rad. That would be really cool. I would love to see the Silver Surfer come in. We already got Richard Rider, Nova from he's Nova. They've already hinted that he might be showing up in the Marvel Universe at some point because we've been on Nova Prime already. And not Roman Day, but John C. Reilly's character
was a part of the Nova Corps,
was a part of the Nova Corps and is actually the one that gives Richard Rider the Nova power.
Nice.
When he becomes Nova. We already know that Adam Warlock is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy, played by Will Poulter.
Yep.
So we know that we're getting all of they're setting the pieces up for this cosmic event. We know that Kang the Conqueror is going to be in Ant-Man Quantumania as a villain. I'm under the school of thought that Kang is like the Loki of the next set of Marvel, cinematic universe movies, where he's like the initial threat, whereas something like Galactus would be the Thanos level threat that we get.
Are there any other Marvel threats that are Thanos level besides Galactus?
I mean, we've got Secret Wars coming out, right? We've got, it's
Doom would be considered like Doom would, like Dr. Doom would be considered like, you get into the X-Men stuff. I mean, you have Apocalypse, you have the Phoenix Force. Now that we're out in space and in the cosmic, we've already heard references to the Shi'ar Empire. We've already seen the Kree. The Phoenix Force plays heavily into all that stuff. Believe me, tinfoil hatting. I want all this shit to happen right now.
There's also something to be said about the smaller stories where there's less stakes, but I mean, there is a backlog of universe-ending things that could happen.
Yeah,
but I'm
and that's always the fun go-to thing when you're starting new fantasy writing. Okay, what threat to everything that exists can I come up with?
Yeah,
right.
No, Mephisto.
It's like,
Shuma-Gorath, Mephisto.
Writing your ending.
And like, I'll be 100% honest with you, and this is a really hot take that not anybody I know around me agrees with or like even thinks about. The movie I'm least excited for is Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home.
Really?
And that's because I didn't care for the second Tom Holland Spider-Man movie that much.
I haven't seen any of them.
That's very hipster
I
of you.
really
it's
liked
not like
Homecoming.
The thing that everybody else likes, though. You're like, oh, everybody likes that.
No, I loved Homecoming. Homecoming is one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Well,
I
Michael
did not
Keaton's
really
in it,
care
so,
for. Right.
I'm Batman.
Hey,
here's the thing. We're getting all of these, we're getting all of this cosmic stuff in Marvel. And I think there's going to be some of that in this with the Doctor Strange stuff and the multiverse and all that. But everybody is focused on the fact that fucking Willem Dafoe's in it, that Alfred Molina's in it, that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield may be in it, that that this is like the combining of the Sam Raimi verse. I don't have the same nostalgia for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe that everyone in my age group does. I thought they were fine. Spider-Man 2 was great. Spider-Man 3 is a fucking abomination of a comic book movie.
Spider-Man 2 is the best comic book movie, hands down.
Great soundtrack.
I'm spitting hot takes at you.
You're gonna say Spider-Man 2 is better than The Dark Knight.
Yep.
You're gonna say Spider-Man 2 is better than fucking Batman and Robin.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. But the nipples? Get out of here.
Are you kidding?
Get out of here with that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is Mr. Freeze?
No.
Chill.
No. Absolutely not.
Time to chill. Temperature-based pun.
I mean, I definitely listened to the soundtrack for Spider-Man 2 on repeat while working out, driving in my car at night more often than probably any other.
We all went through a dashboard confessional phase. I get it.
That was my dashboard confessional. Was that over and over and over again. Danny Elfman could do no
okay, so the movie soundtrack that I listened to nonstop is the Batman Forever soundtrack.
Kiss from a Rose, baby.
Kiss from a Rose, man.
Rose, baby.
But also everything else, that's an incredible soundtrack.
That's definitely fair.
But back to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm really excited. I hope that he's playing Norrin Rad. I'd love for him to do that. There's also there's a whole bunch of people inside of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe that have high stakes that he could be. Like the head of it's not Unitarian Church, but it's there's a church that's there that is like a cosmic church and all that, and he could be the head of that. So it's cool.
True.
Lightning round.
All right, time for my favorite little topic here, because it's supposed to be 5 minutes or less. We are on the clock. I'm going to be quick because it's only 2 topics. I'm just going to say it. If you want to talk about it afterwards, that's great. If not, we're going to move right along. This is nothing crazy, but lightning round. Weta Digital sold for $1.62 billion to tech firm Unity. and Chloé Zhao, excuse me, Chloé Zhao, to direct Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie, aka the director of Eternals. This is actually pretty big. Kevin Feige was like, you know who writes fucking checks? Chloé fucking Zhao. She's now the director of this.
I actually didn't know this. I didn't know this till I saw it on the docket, and that's really exciting.
That's huge.
If it's the Old Republic movie that they're talking about,
that would be.
I will literally have to buy.
Let's get away. Yeah, let's get away from the original prequel timeline.
Let's get away from that. Real quick, I'm glad that Unity picked up Weta Digital.
Yes.
That's a hefty price tag, but if Unity hadn't, as a Unity developer, if Unity hadn't done something like this, Epic / Unreal would have just absolutely decimated them into nothing. Because what
it's an arms race. Oh my god.
Yeah, what Unreal 5 developed and came out with just blasted everyone out of the water. And this actually gives Unity a chance in the race, and gives them a complete new 3D digital tool set that is so far and above anything they had the capability of before. So I'm happy for them. I'm glad that they decided to step up and actually pursue a new digital tool set that's gonna give their current developers a whole bunch of new really good stuff. And
now we get to look forward to a third render pipeline, which is the double DHD render pipeline.
Not to be confused
further
with
split.
triple DHD.
That's right, triple DHD.
But no, one good thing to note before we move on to new releases, not only does it give them all of Weta Digital's IP, it also includes all of their engineering and staff. So you get all of that knowledge sourced directly in Unity, which is honestly probably more valuable than just the IP. If we're being about the next steps,
the knowledge,
and all that stuff.
Huge.
Just ask Blizzard, but people are dropping like flies, 9.3, anybody? Nope. But guess what? It's not for new releases. This means we're just
this is my favorite part of the show.
Away from my favorite part of the show, our final round. But here we go. Dune. Actually, I slipped this in here. Selfish Ernie. Doctor Who Flux came out. Started on Halloween. You heard me.
How dare!
Wow.
How dare!
Change it. Doctor Who Flux. It's a 6-part miniseries. It's all featuring the latest version of the Doctor, and it's awesome so far. The first episode, the Halloween Apocalypse, came out. Second one aired last week. It's fantastic. There's a character. His name is Carvanista. He looks just like my 8-pound dog. It's fantastic. I love it. Chewbacca meets Doctor Who, and that's just one character of all these other big bads in Doctor Who. If you haven't, watch it. You don't need to know anything about the show other than it takes place in time and space. Enjoy. But moving around,
I'm gonna watch it. Well, you said I don't need to know anything about the show.
You don't need to know shit. All you need
I've never watched any Doctor.
I know nothing about Doctor Who,
which is why they go Doctor Who, because it doesn't have another name. It's just the Doctor, and then they have a companion, and they fly around in time and space, and the shit's. It's basically like if you
right. No, I know the general ideas, but I've seen literally none of it.
Yeah. It's
watch
fantastic.
the David Tennant Doctor Who. That is the best Doctor Who.
That's what I've heard.
I can't get past the effects.
My favorite episode was the first one.
You kind of sign it. That's what you kind of sign up for, though.
You definitely sign up for the cheese, and it's lower budget. But the episode I first watched was The Girl in the Fireplace. I had no idea what I was watching. And long story short, it takes place in the year 3000, but also in the year 1800, and it made no fucking sense. There's a horse on a spaceship. Not a whore, a horse.
Well, never mind. I don't want to watch it.
I don't know what their personal lives are. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, good stuff, good times. But this big one, obviously, that's a good one. It is definitely a good one. Thank you. The Sharp's tack. Sharp as the
tack is sharp.
What? Yes, it's not Firefly, but okay.
Doctor Who is not Firefly.
I know that.
Hashtag facts.
Firefly
That's a shot at Justin because I heard him say it's just Firefly, and I was like, I love Firefly.
Yeah, no, the sharpest tag is my partner Tori, who's right there.
What up? Shout out, called out.
Hi, Tori.
The next one is Dune. For those that don't know or just watched the movie, didn't read the book.
I know nothing about Dune. I know that there's sandworms and there's spice, and that's it.
How come nobody watches what I want to watch.
The basic,
I watched it.
The
We're-
basic
we're
plot
2 out of 2.
synopsis is Paul Atreides is a brilliant and gifted young man born into a great destiny beyond his understanding. He must travel to the most dangerous planet in the universe to ensure the future of his family and his people as malevolent forces explode into conflict over the planet's exclusive supply of the most precious resource in existence, aka spice. Only those who can conquer their own fear will survive. It's awesome. The book, definitely, you're going to need a thesaurus. You're going to have like a whiteboard with a bunch of like yarn strings to connect who's who and what group is what.
Charlie Day.
Exactly. You're
A little
gonna need
crazy.
Pepe Sylvia. I keep
Pepe
getting all these
Sylvia.
things about being
I
Pepe
got
Sylvia. Pepe
boxes
Sylvia.
of Pepe.
Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia. I go to HR, go to
That
Carol, say, hey,
episode is
Carol,
amazing.
Carol.
God, I need to watch that episode again. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Doom, bow, bow. Chicka, chicka, chicka.
I forgot all about the Carol thing.
But that's exactly how the book
Holy
reads.
shit.
People are
Okay.
like, my favorite TikTok book, like a clip was like some people trying to like just show the words, like, Jesus Christ, I can't even think of the names now. The Bene Gesserit would be a great name of
Right.
something, and it's just like, but it's like people, the voiceover is like, and then people are like, what are you saying?
Pergant.
What are you?
Pergananans.
Pergananans?
It took me 6 hours of listening to the first book because I'm reading the books right now
Oh.
to be able to firmly understand the words Kwisatz Haderach. And I was
Dude.
like, what are they saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But listen,
It's
This
these
movie-
it's those sci-fi words, man.
this movie
That's
Let's
what
add
it is.
apostrophes everywhere. Sci-fi.
has so many beautiful people in it. Jason Momoa, hot.
Mhm.
Josh Brolin, hot.
Hot.
Oscar Isaac, literally the
Oh, hot.
hottest.
What is it about the desert that just
Dude,
Sandy Beards, Sandy Beards, all day.
Sandy Beards.
I'm so mad that,
That was
I
my
literally
Sandy
went to trim
Beards was my
beard,
nickname in high school.
and I was shaking out my little trimmer and like the adjustable guard. I didn't hear it ratchet all the way down to the bottom. I went one swipe up and it sounded like a weed whacker. And I was just like, no. Completely half
Is that-
mustache gone, half
Ernie,
my
is that what
chin.
your weed whacker sounds like?
Yeah, it just sounds like like rogue farts. Like once you can't hold it in, but
Okay.
you like people know you're like, oh, you didn't want that out, and just right up my face. I went into the nursery, took one look at Michelle, and she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And just turned right back around. And
Does
just
your
went to town
child
on the
still
rest of it.
recognize you?
Oh yeah, from here up, I gotta get real close.
Does your phone still recognize you?
It didn't. 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. Face
Wow.
ID refused to work. I had to put another
Oh
face
my
in. It's just
God.
like, all right. I was like,
This is
F
why I
it, man.
use Android.
The word.
Oh,
Oh yeah, this
man.
is the reason. That's the one reason. Because you don't want to
No, there's a
accidentally
lot
trim
of
your
them.
beard.
So Don,
Sean,
what do you
what did you
like
think of
about Dune? Yeah, thank you.
I want to talk to somebody about this fucking movie because nobody's
He's
seen
been
it.
so patient. Sorry, Dom. I digress.
Let's talk about
This,
Sandy Beards and shit.
so I thought this movie was beautiful. This is like my favorite movie of the year thus far.
Yep.
I thought the movie was beautifully shot. I thought the score was incredible. Hans Zimmer is a fucking master
Yeah.
mind behind movie scores. I thought, like I said, I'm only halfway through the first book now for the first time reading it. I thought, and I'm at the point where the movie ends in the book. And I started the book because I was like, I watched the movie and I was like, I got to know how the rest of this goes. I thought Timothée Chalamet is a great Paul Atreides.
Yeah.
But I will say, fucking Oscar Isaac stole the show. for
Oh,
me
really?
Oh yeah.
As Duke Leto. He is like, he's got this charisma behind him and like just this regalness. And it could be the fact that his beard is magnificent and he's got the salt and pepper in the
Salt
hair.
and pepper, ooh, baby.
Like it's just he kills it. And then like the other side, the Harkonnens, which is the bad guys of the thing with Peter.
They did a great job of the Harkonnen. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Stellan Skarsgård,
Oh,
David
yeah.
Malkin.
In that fat suit, I mean, I know it's a suit. He pointed out in an interview that he was trying to emulate Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now.
Right? Yeah.
Straight up shot
Yeah.
for shot when he's like grabbing his face and he's all sweaty and bald. When he's coming out of that mud water is just like Apocalypse Now. And
So good.
even
Yeah.
to your point, Hans Zimmer, that music when the Harkonnen army is getting ready, that that inverse kind of dubstep gurgle that was happening, and of course the guy, the polka dot man, as the guy with
Yeah,
no
the guy
eyes.
is in everything right now.
That's the only thing I could see
Fan-flipping-tastic.
him as.
He's so good. And then, of course,
It
you
used
got
to be
Drax the
from
Destroyer.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Right.
He's in like the Flash like 3 times. He's in the Arrowverse as like
Oh, wow.
multiple characters. He is the
Wait.
multiverse.
Who is this?
David Dastmalchian. He's
That's
the
it.
polka dot man in the new
Suicide
Suicide
Squad?
Squad.
He's
He
in
was also in the Dark
shit
Knight.
ton
He
of
was
things.
also in. He's in fucking everything.
Oh,
And he is really
He's everywhere.
great in the movie.
That is great.
Like he's my
So,
own
like,
Easter egg. If I see him, I'm like, I'm watching this movie.
To your point about Paul Atreides, Timothy Chalamet, I was worried he was going to be like episode 4 Luke Skywalker, squeaky and kind of like, I've got something to prove. But he actually does a very good job of being
okay.
like I really thought he was going to be like, man, this is going to be another coming of age 14-year-old inherits all of this power and it's one big prepubescent power trip, but he does carry a lot of charisma and a lot of the same regalness because he is the younger brother or son of
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac's character. And I was within the first 15 minutes, like his scene with Rebecca Ferguson's character, his mother, Lady Jessica, was like, all right, I'm in because it was very much, this movie was like, I'm not going to read or watch or hype anything. This is a movie that you go in. And I've seen the David Lynch Dune, and my God, is it so goofy when you,
is.
You gotta watch.
It's an experience.
Yeah,
it's an experience.
It's so long. So many mini.
They also tried to fit the whole book in the movie.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
So like you lose a whole bunch of but
can we talk about, sorry to interrupt, but can we talk about how the studio kind of withheld the second movie hostage based on here's 2 things. They said part 2 is may or may not happen, and we'll just have to see what the box office says.
Isn't that
but
shit?
But at the end of you roll credits and you see Dune continued in part 2, and I'm like, okay.
The opening title says Dune Part 1.
Okay,
and I was
opening
like,
1. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so they didn't even wait for the box. It was the next day where they were like, Dune
Right.
Part
Yeah.
2 is
Yeah,
greenlit.
None of their marketing had part 1 though. That was definitely like a move. Like,
right.
We're gonna we can swap this out. It's a file change. It's literally a file change.
You know what this feels like?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This feels like Final Fantasy VII remake.
It does. How much? What are we buying? Are we buying one of a 4-parter? Are we buying one of a 2-parter? I don't even know.
We don't even know. They don't even know.
Yeah. How much can we squeeze out? Is this a Harry Potter the last book? Harry Potter part 2? Or...
Yeah.
Listen.
To your point about Timothy Chalamet, I had seen Timothy Chalamet in 2 things up into this movie. One was that SNL skit with Pete Davidson where he was a rapper.
Hold up.
Oh no, okay.
Yes, that one, Ernie.
I didn't know about that.
That one. And
So
then
good.
I saw him in
Call Me by Another Name with Armie Hammer?
where he played King Richard.
Oh yeah, he was. Great in that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
He was fucking great in that.
Great
I
in
was
that.
like,
Yeah. Huh.
and the cheekbones. That man's got cheekbones for
Solid
days.
cheekbones.
And he's already set up to
Yep.
play. He's been cast to play a young Willy Wonka in the upcoming origin story of Willy
Yep.
Wonka.
Yeah.
Looks
Yep.
amazing.
That's going to be interesting.
The clothing is straight up identical. Thank God, nothing to do with Johnny Depp or Tim Burton. It's just his clothing. The cane is everything to do with
Gene Wilder.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's spot on. It's like he never changed clothes. Awesome. Fucking awesome. The colors are richer.
I
because
can't wait
obviously
for
the
part 2 of
favorite
this
time is
movie,
So
though.
good. So fun.
I am hyped, and I really want to rewatch Dune on big screen IMAX. Like I want to go to like I saw this. We did like a beach getaway in like Airbnb, and they had a TV and they had HBO Max. I was like, oh, let's watch this because I don't have a TV that works. I don't have HBO Max. And now's the time. And immediately I was like, fuck, I wish I was watching this on in a movie theater because I can instantly tell this is a movie.
I didn't watch it in a movie. I didn't watch this Tenet or Interstellar in a movie theater.
Oh my
And
God,
I'm like,
Interstellar.
and I watched it on my TV at home, which is a nice TV, but I'm just like, fuck.
It
I
ain't,
wish I would have
it
saw
ain't
it
40
on
feet,
IMAX.
baby. You know what I mean? It's
I know.
Yeah.
The last IMAX movie I saw was The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, nice.
I don't have any idea what the last IMAX. Oh, no. The last IMAX movie I saw was, I think, the second part of the Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, you know what? That's true. I saw that in IMAX too.
I think that's what it was.
I think mine was the last Hobbit film at 48 frames per
know.
second. Best 3D experience I've ever had. Oh my God. Those
I
frames
wanted to
matter.
watch all the Hobbit movies
Those
at 48
matter.
frames, but
It
I
was so good.
yeah.
Those are the only 3D movies I've ever watched that didn't make me want to vomit immediately. Like,
Yep. It's that
Touché.
48.
so good. It matters.
I don't think I've ever. I'd have to experience because I hate 3D in theaters with like the glasses, but
It's the
I don't
clipping,
think I've
man. It's
ever.
the clipping.
Yeah.
And don't look up Rule 43
Yeah, 48 is
online.
real smooth.
It's definitely 48 frames per second, not 43. You're going to find
Yeah.
a lot of different things. You look up Rule 43 online.
Oh gosh. I saw
34.
the first time I
it's
saw
34 by the way.
Oh, why'd you have to
Yeah.
correct me? That makes you a suspect. Can I see your
I'm
browser
sure if
history?
you Google Rule 43, there's even worse stuff just
Probably.
because of the
It's
rule.
just the inverse. It's like people are just. A
I
different
saw
dominant in the
Dark
same
Knight.
scene.
I saw Dark Knight for the first time in IMAX, but the only chairs that were available were up front in the very front row
Yep.
to the left. So I had to watch a ginormous Christian Bale
That's
in
not terrible.
this like entirely stretched,
Could be worse.
skewed perspective. I mean,
That's
yeah,
how
could be worse.
when Tori and I went to see Parasite, we saw it at the little teeny like art theater at
right.
the bow tie, and we were front row, and so it was just like
Yeah, just
the whole time.
At least
And
it was
like-
Parasite,
and it's
not
subtitled.
Human Centipede at that size. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
That's a different movie.
but it's Korean, and so it's subtitles. So if I'm reading the subtitles, I can't see anything in the rest
You're
of the
watching
screen.
tennis, left to right,
that
left, right, left,
sucks.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was-
my neck would've
It was a
been
great
jacked up.
movie, but the second time around was way better because I was just watching it like on our TV.
unfortunate.
All right, we're going to be split on
All
this
right.
next topic, unfortunately, but I think it's good because we already talked about it a little bit. I'm going to throw up the spoiler flag just in case. Hopefully, we don't spoil anything because obviously we're split. However, the Eternals dropped on the 5th of November, just last week.
Looks amazing. I can't
I
wait to see it.
enjoyed it. For me personally,
Same.
it fell a little flat.
You watched it?
I did. It fell flat. And what I mean by that
Oh.
is the pacing was wonky. The story is there. The moving the story forward as far as the MCU is there. But I don't know. It just with an ensemble cast, they're supposed to be, friends for thousands of years. Spoiler alert. That's why they're eternal. It's like there wasn't enough strong emotion in any direction. I think whenever I think thousands of years, I think the reason nobody hangs out anymore is because there was such a problem. And now they don't talk. Like Dracula isn't BFS with Frankenstein for a reason or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there should have
Sure,
been
but,
more contrast, but at the same time, it was a good enough story. I enjoyed watching.
Time.
Yeah. And then,
if you-
to your
you know,
point,
if
though,
there's,
you
like-
become really indifferent over thousands of years. Like you've seen everything.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, you can become really indifferent to somebody over 3 years.
True.
Doesn't take
You know what I
long.
mean?
Familiarity
Indifferent
breeds
to Ernie
contempt.
in the last 30 seconds when he shit on this movie.
I'm not trying to be an asshole, but at the same time, I'm not in a hurry to
I'm sick
rewatch
of your
it.
shit.
I'll rewatch Dune 15 more times before I rewatch Eternals. Is all I'm saying.
So not having seen it yet, Eternals.
That was
Visually, absolutely stunning. Looks so incredible.
of course.
Casting wise, really excited to see that level of diversity. First deaf superhero played by a deaf actress in all of Marvel. That's incredible. That movie, I've seen multiple tweets, multiple articles of that movie making people want to go out and learn sign language. That's fantastic.
The first gay superhero
So-
played by Brian Tyree Henry as Phastos. Also groundbreaking in the MCU.
Yeah.
I
This
I
is really
cheered
great
for that.
stuff. Yeah. I hope that I enjoy the movie. I probably will. I'm pretty. I don't want to say easy to please when it comes to movies, but like I watch movies to have fun. I don't watch movies to be super critical of them unless they're like just plainly shit.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me
But
wrong. We're 22
I'll
episodes
probably
in on
have
the
a lot of
show. 21 episodes have been really nice and awesome on everything. I've decided at 22 episodes, I'm gonna start trying to pepper in a critical take
Tom?
on something.
Kid gloves are off.
Yeah, well, I
Whoa.
didn't say for everything. I just had to pick
Ernie,
one.
I think
One topic.
I think the list of computer parts that you're getting from Dom is dwindling.
I'm just
Let me
telling
tell you
you.
something right now.
My
Oh,
kid
where'd
gloves
that
came off
monitor
of
go? Where'd
Windows
that hard
way
drive
earlier.
go?
Okay, Windows can F it in the B for all I care, and that's coming from somebody with 3 of those holes.
Which
you know what I'm
one?
saying?
Yeah,
Exactly.
which one though?
These 3 right here.
Okay.
However, I would love to hear Dom's opinion because I would love to be swayed by new information because I'm an adult. I can hear new facts and I can make another decision from those facts. And he's like, fuck you.
Balls in your court.
Yeah.
Sell me on this right now.
Ping pong, baby. Let's
I
volleyball
love this movie. This is the movie that I've been most excited for.
Oh, you're wrong. Let's mute Dom.
Since Phase 3
Banned.
finished with Endgame. When we were getting Eternals, I didn't know anything about Eternals. I read Neil Gaiman's run on Eternals, which is very similar to what the story of this one is.
Okay.
I thought the ensemble cast was exceptional. I think that the people that stole the show were the actress who played Makari, which is the deaf speedster, and then Druig, who is Barry Keoghan. Their chemistry on screen was amazing. And Druig is my least favorite character in the comic book. Like he is just this massive asshole in the comic book.
He's a dickhead.
Yeah, he's a huge dickhead in the comic book, and he in the movie. There's so much depth to him. This movie is not, to me, what made this movie a Marvel movie were the 2 end credit scenes. I mean, because that's really the only 2 things that really tied into it and started building off of the building to something great. And I won't talk about either of the end credit scenes for the sake of
you guys can earmuffs it.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for Justin.
I'm on the fence, like on whether I want to hear it.
I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to do that because I think that they're both poignant. The first one is really cool for world building, and the second one is even more cool. On that side, I thought that Richard Madden as Icarus played Icarus just like the comic book. Icarus is that loyal soldier who's kind of loyal to a fault. I thought that the gender bending, because Makari in the comic books is a guy. Ajak in the comic books is
also
a guy.
A dude, yeah.
And I thought that Salma Hayek was great as that kind of that leader. And Gemma Chan as Cersei. Yeah. She was exceptional. They even got Sprite to where Sprite felt much like Sprite does in the comic books.
Is that the kid, like the younger
kid?
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was a beautiful movie.
Don Lee playing Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh and Thena. So that was Angelina Jolie as Thena, and I can't remember the actor who's played Gilgamesh, but
Don Lee.
Their chemistry again. So this movie was really panned as the love story of Icarus and Cersei, and that kind of they were the poster childs for it because it's Richard Madden and he's literally beautiful.
King of the North.
And
gorgeous.
Gemma Chan is beautiful, but the other relationships, Fastos and his husband, and Thena and Gilgamesh and Makari and Druig. The movie, I thought the pacing in the third act was it felt a little rushed.
That's what
I think
killed it for me, man. It's the climax.
The third act. Visually, I love the movie. I love the beginning and kind of the back and forth of being how the Eternals affected mankind. The thing that really kind of makes me think about the movie as a whole, and you hear it in the trailer. Kit Harington, who plays Dane Whitman, and his role. For those of you who don't know, Dane Whitman is a character in the Marvel comic books universe that is much bigger than his role that's portrayed in the movie. But he asked Cersei right off the bat, "Why didn't you help with Thanos?" And her answer is, "We were instructed not to interfere with anything that wasn't a deviant." Well, in the comic books, Thanos is an Eternal with the deviant gene. So like there's some weird stuff going on here, and there's a lot of world building in this movie that I think goes over a lot of people's heads, and is a lot of, if it's not going to hit for a lot of people. That's why if you look at the review score, it's the worst rated movie. And I would say that to put this below Thor: The Dark World is a fucking crime, because Thor: The Dark World is awful.
Everybody hates that movie, and I actually really enjoyed it.
I had Christopher Eccleston. I definitely enjoyed him as the dark elf. It was great.
Well, listen, I mean, anybody who likes Doctor Who, I mean, they're just, I don't trust any of their opinions, because, who would like fucking Doctor Who?
Oh, shut your face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's the longest running sci-fi show in history.
Does Eternals answer that question? No spoilers. Like,
no,
they don't. Okay.
Oh wait, what question?
The question: why didn't they? Like, did they go any deeper into the fact that comic book Thanos was half deviant, half
they don't even allude
or
to
not
it.
half?
Not really.
Okay.
They don't allude to it. But watch it, and then come talk to me, because I'd like to talk to you about it.
He's over
I
here
want to talk to
opinion.
everybody.
He's
about
like,
this
next episode, please.
Yeah.
23. Let's go.
Did you already try to talk with Ernie and he just kind of shut you down?
I didn't know Ernie saw the movie, because last time I spoke to Ernie, which was 3 days ago, he didn't see the movie.
I was trying to hold on, but I was so excited. I was like, Dom's going to say it's great. I need to get this out. I need to level set. I don't want to be. I wanted to do the old sandwich where you end on a high note. Versus like me.
If Ernie watches Shang-Chi tomorrow and he says anything but that this movie is incredible,
I've watched it. I've watched it.
And you didn't like it?
I loved Shang-Chi.
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure.
I'm not going to say.
Okay, we're going to go.
To where you live.
When two characters are talking to another set of characters in the bar, and then a fifth character walks in and they say, "I need to talk to you," and then they go somewhere else with that fifth character, and then afterwards they're like, "Okay, this is the situation," and all of a sudden he's like, "Okay, go home, get some rest," and then all of a sudden they're like, "We could do that," or something else takes place. I was like, "This is why I love this movie." Because this is how
I like how you're dancing around. You've got me intrigued.
Watch the movie tomorrow.
Yeah. My point is, if you are anybody our age, you're going to respect the way Shang-Chi behaves as a person, not like superhero guy. You're just like, yeah, it's literally how anybody on our shoes would behave. You wouldn't be called to action. You'd be like, I'm going to do this one.
So it's funny. My original slot to be on this show was the week that Shang-Chi came out. And I was like, I've got to see it before I go on the show. And now, 2 months later, tomorrow it comes out on. Eternals came out, and I was like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to see it before I go. But yeah, I'm going to watch both for sure.
It's IMAX tomorrow and 4K. I mean, shoot, you actually might get it in like an hour or 2 hours. You know how
true.
I mean, the real thing is that, like, I just don't leave the house ever. So I went to the theaters once in the last 2 years, and that was to go see Promare again.
Nice.
Right. See, we could make a trip to the best unknown movie theater, West Tower, which has zero people.
The best tower.
It has 0 people, but it also has 30-year-old speakers that crackle.
And the stickiest of floors.
It's also maybe just not the best.
Oh, it's definitely
and chairs.
It's abandoned for a reason.
Listen,
yes, but so is the Northern
3.
Theater.
True.
I will rent out a damn AMC IMAX theater. So
I heard it's actually not that expensive.
Movies.
I heard because it's like every other set of seats.
$120.
Yeah, I heard it's like to rent it out,
and I'll rent it out. I'll make sure that there's wipes and all that stuff.
Bro, I will
don't
bring
care.
in
But I'm tired
Korean
of
barbecue.
watching
We can
movies.
eat and just fucking crush.
Oh man,
Could you
Korean
imagine?
barbecue and Eternals would be dope.
It'd be so good.
Sean's
Dom,
like,
we
yeah.
invite you to Central Virginia. The four of us will form up like Voltron into one giant lion robot, and we will crush.
I only live an hour and a half from y'all.
God,
Like,
that
I'm
idea is
in.
going to live
Let's go.
rent free in my mind until
Could
we
you
do
imagine?
it.
Could you imagine?
Are you kidding me? Should do it for Spider-Man.
I'll have all the mac and cheese. Let's go.
If only Dom was
Vegan,
here
'cause
for
I
it.
can't have dairy.
All right, we're gonna hear it for Spider-Man. Who is Dom?
There's
Is he
no way
coming?
home because I can't poop my pants in the car. I gotta poop in the theater.
Okay.
Speaking of
Harder
pooping
They
your
Fall.
pants.
The Harder They Fall looks amazing.
Yes, Justin, you
Yes.
get to lead this topic. I want you to. Yes,
Do it.
let's go. Let's go.
It looks great. It's a diverse cast. I don't know that much about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, what is Harder They Fall?
The Harder They Fall is the Netflix film that just came out. I'll read the synopsis real quick. When an outlaw discovers his enemy is being released from prison, he reunites his gang to seek revenge in this Western. It is predominantly a black cast, a bunch of huge names. You've already got King the Conqueror and Jonathan Majors. You've got Idris Elba. You got Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo. The list goes on. There's so many famous faces. You'll spend probably more brain power going, what the fuck have I seen them in? Before you actually remember there's an awesome storyline going on. I'm an hour into this and pissed off that we had to do the show because I couldn't finish it. Like, there's so many good actors. And then you start like
It
breaking
looks
down.
so good.
They were in that movie together. They were in that movie together. And that's why there's this, and it's fast paced and the music pops, man. The music is not Western folksy. It's fucking, it hits right. It hits all the right layers you want to hear, especially when, like, again, I'm only an hour in, especially in like big climactic moments. And we're just like that one little, like, I just put my balls on the table. I say balls because I'm a man. I'm not going to speak about the other genitalia. I don't have them. I can't. I'm woke AF, bro. So, but my point is, when they have that one-liner and people go, oh, fuck, and then the beat drops, you're like, yes, I'm so fucking jazzed right now. Let's go.
It hits different.
It does.
I think is the term.
It does.
You don't have to put
massive call out to Chadwick Aaron Boseman. The train even in the trailer says C.A. Boseman on the side. His name's right on there. Nice little shout out.
Hell yeah.
Forever.
Nice. Hell yeah.
It's dope.
Man. And it's very it's like, and what's it where it feels out of time. It's not a period piece. It's like contemporary music on top of a Western plot. I love that. That's or like it depends on the execution, but I also love Zazie Beetz and Jonathan Majors.
I love Lakeith Stanfield so much. Yes. He's so good.
Damon Wayans Jr.
Damon Wayans Jr. also incredible.
So good. I will say my favorite thing thus far, besides the little nods to all these different things, is just how fast everything is. Like, if you're not paying attention and there's a different accent and you miss it, you're gonna miss like just a little zinger here and there, and you're like, okay, I should have been paying attention. Back it up. Like, if you had a couple of cocktails, wait till tomorrow, because you're gonna be like, I fucking missed that. It was probably funny.
I'm gonna do a line of coke.
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's good though. It's definitely good. It's just great. But next up, a season I'm thinking some people will look forward to. I definitely was. At the same time, if it didn't happen, I'd be fine.
Was this what you were talking about, Justin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just making sure.
So
yes, here we go.
Dexter was a phenomenal show until the last season.
Game of Thrones?
because they
You talk about the lumberjack scene in general.
yeah. So the lumberjack scene, but also like the 2 or 3 episodes before that. You can't take Deb, you can't take his sister and give her, she had this whole like weird like police chase scene with this like Minotaur labyrinth situation and ended up super fucked up about it in the hospital. And they were like, oh, she's going to be fine. And I was like, cool. Okay, good. They're not just going to like kill her off. And then the next episode, they're like, oh, no, she's brain dead. And so And so it was just like, really, you're gonna.
Like
Sorry,
they made
this
put
that
the
is the
banner
way-
up. I put the banner up.
Yeah, put the
Spoiler.
banner up. But like this is the way. This is the way that
This
this
is
happens.
so old. I don't see
Yeah,
why.
And
I never
then-
watched it.
and then all there's like the new wife and the son, and they go down to like Argentina or somewhere, and then you see Dexter at the end as the lumberjack, and I was like, okay, this is not great, but I'll take it. And then I heard that Dexter was coming, or that there was going to be a Dexter spinoff, and I was like, if they do a spinoff about the wife and Dexter's son starting to get that dark passenger down in Argentina, that would be fucking dope, because she was also a serial killer,
True.
and her having to then take Dexter's role and try to deal with that, and like how she would raise him and either cultivate it or try and get him away from the dark passenger. That would be an incredible show. But instead, it's just fucking Dexter again.
Yes.
It's not
And
New
it's-
Blood.
But
It's
in the
not New
snow.
Blood. It's
It's
the same
in the
blood.
snow.
It's just dumb. I don't. Nope. I'm all right.
Did you read the books, Justin?
No, I didn't read the books.
I'm with you about. So in the books, and the books are older than the TV show.
So I'm taking the spoiler.
Rita's
banner off.
kids,
Mm-hmm.
after Rita's death,
Mm-hmm.
exhibit the same kind of tendencies that Dexter did as a kid,
The dark
and develop
passenger.
their own dark passenger.
Mm-hmm.
And Dexter mentors them
Oh,
as,
okay. So
as
they
they turn into him.
so
Huh.
literally
really
the,
cool.
the storyline that I wanted in Argentina.
Yeah, so that's
like,
what I
it
was
makes
like.
it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense to take that path as a spinoff. I don't know why they're doing this.
I watched this episode and I was
Yes.
like, it was okay. Like, it was okay. Like, to me, it was okay. I'm interested to see what they do with it. It seems to me that, he was very out of character for most of this episode. It was very out of Dexter's character, which was cool to see.
Yeah.
Also, Michael C. Hall hasn't aged a fucking day.
He's got to
And
be.
neither
Yeah.
has,
He's got to be a
Jennifer
vampire.
Carpenter. They both look the exact same as they did when Dexter came on.
Yeah,
Fucking
coming
over a
from you,
decade ago.
Dominic, I definitely have wedding photos where you look identical to you do now. Just like you pick one hair to make grayer every other day. You're like, nobody's gonna know. I'm just gonna keep winding one hair.
A little bit of hair dye, you can go back in time.
Yes, seriously. But to your point, yeah, he doesn't age. But I think I spent most of this episode waiting for the internal monologue. Like, you know how, like, whenever Dexter's doing something, he's always just his brooding internal monologue is like basically the narrator.
You have the
of everything
spoiler
he's
thing
doing.
up right now, right?
Everything's a
Throw it up.
spoiler. Everything's a
I think we're just
spoiler.
good. We should just talk about it real quick.
So again, there's not spoiling necessarily, but at the same time, for a long part of the episode, I was waiting for the internal monologue. And that's my favorite.
When that
part,
shit
period.
flipped-
My favorite part. Yeah.
When that flipped, I was like, yeah,
Game
cool.
on.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. When he says hello, Dexter Morgan, I was like, I'm in.
Yes.
I am back into this.
Now that we just said things, we said his name, we said when he flips, and we said that there is maybe sometimes and maybe no times when there's no internal monologue. That's about as
Yeah.
I
The
think
show's
as
name's
least
Dexter.
Spoiler as we can get. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
If we were like, I love when he said "new blood," like, you know what I mean. Like, that would be just as spoilery as this title here. But I'm definitely looking forward to other episodes for sure.
Does the series deserve a rewatch before watching this? Because
Maybe the
I
first
loved
season?
season 1 through 4.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna watch
love
it just
season
for
1 through
surprise
3.
motherfuckers. Like, that's
Just
it.
watch up until Rita's death.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Surprise.
Just watch
Yeah.
up until at the end of season 4.
So I liked. Yeah, seasons 1 through 4 are amazing. Season 4 is obviously the best season.
Yeah.
Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But so there was a lot of stuff that happened in season 5 that I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Thematically, because you introduce Lumen, you introduce Dexter like actually really struggling to help someone, not just say, "Oh, I'm better off by myself."
Right.
And really form a bond with someone probably like pretty much for the first time, that sort of bond, and then Lumen at the end of everything be like, this isn't for me, bye, and Dexter have to like go
Feel
through
abandoned again.
go through that growth, and then the like recession of that, and really work out some complicated feelings there. I thought it was really good for his growth as a character. And then in season 6 was the old man, right? What's his name from
Jonathan
Battlestar
Lithgow?
Galactica?
No, oh, you're
No,
right.
that
No, that was
4.
season 4.
Yeah, season 4. Zodiac Killer.
Oh, who was the season 6 was the guy from Battlestar Galactica, and the younger guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Who were like the killers. That season was incredible because the twist, I never saw it coming. And I if you don't know it, I won't say it. The twist is incredible.
I don't know it. I might rewatch Dexter just to get caught up on this. So
yeah, and then the end of season 6 really takes you directly into the final season, because the very last scene in season 6 is another huge turning point.
So it sounds like it's just the last 3 episodes of Dexter.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Oh yeah, season 1 through 4, great. 5, really interesting stuff. 6, loved it, and it really led into 7. I'm like, all right, so yeah, I gotta rewatch it.
Yeah, the way they wrap things up was just, I don't think, the right call for those characters.
Yeah.
I will say one of the spoilers that was online, not necessarily spoilers, it's on IMDb. So if you went and looked at this synopsis that I'm about to read, supposedly Jonathan Lithgow will return, obviously for a reason or whatever. But also Clancy Brown is going to be in this season. Clancy Brown.
Yeah. The Kurgan.
Yes, the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. You might be more familiar with.
Clancy Brown is the voice of Mr. Krabs?
Yeah, that blows,
right?
Blows mine.
No way.
Clancy Brown. Yeah, I'm right. That's who that is. Yep, nailed it.
He does a lot of
yeah, that's him. It's crazy. It's so bizarre. He's so scary looking. That's right. The original villain in Highlander is the voice of Mr. Krabs. But I'm excited to see where this goes. The premise for this season, before moving on, is 10 years after faking his death, spoiler alert, Dexter Morgan has moved to the fictional small town of Iron Lake, New York, hiding his identity under the name of Jim Lindsay. I've still got the spoiler flag up just in case somebody's trying to go in blind, a.k.a. a local shopkeeper. He has developed a relationship with Angela Bishop, the town's chief of police, and has suppressed his serial killing urges. A string of incidents around Iron Lake causes Dexter to fear that the dark passenger within him will reveal itself. So,
Jim Lindsay's the author of the books, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's good. That's
I love
dope.
that. It's like in Supernatural, the show where they named that the older guy who was a friend of their dad's, the Winchester's dad's, Bobby Singer, after the co-creator Robert Singer. Fantastic. Show. So good. So
there's a whole bunch of little ties in Supernatural like that.
I love that. The minute you stop taking yourself serious, you got my heart all day long. Let's go.
The minute you make an episode about the characters going to a convention about them,
and nobody believes
that world,
them.
It's amazing.
Everybody's
no one believes it.
I even love the episode where they went to the other dimension where they were the actors and they played the actors selves.
Yeah, where they played the actors.
Assholes.
The French Mistake.
Yeah, or like their spouses in real life are actually actors or actresses from the show that played villains, and they were like, "Ruby, you're alive," and it's like, "No, this is my life." Like,
this is and it's like, what? He did marry the first Ruby actress.
It's fantastic.
It's so good.
But all right, so guess what time it is? Right before our final round, we always like to give another shout out to Tough Wraps. ToughWraps.com, gear, apparel, supplements. If you need it, go get it. 10% off, use code Joystick. And again, I've said this before in other episodes. I'm not trying to be selfish here. You don't have to support us by using that code if they got a better deal. If it's #Thanksgiving weekend, you can use that code. You get 25% off. Use that code. The quality of product is good. The stuff they sell is great. But if they don't have that deal going, use that code. Let's get a little shine for us. Joystick, 10% off at checkout. ToughWraps.com. Stay tough. Now, for the final round. This week, we're joined, as we already said, by Justin Mitchell, a.k.a. GryphonBlade77. You know him because he's in our chat.
The
He's
little
on
Twitter
the show. Look,
pop-up.
I couldn't find a better picture. I don't know how
No,
old you
that's
were
fair.
when you took this, but you look amazing. And the little
It's actually aged up.
Yeah, yes, he's actually Benjamin Button. He's aging in reverse.
Yep.
Yep,
That's what
you
it
pull
is.
that hat off. Some people wear hats. Some people have hats wear them. You wear that hat, sir. Well done.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here,
So,
part of the show. This is all really about you, man.
It's been fun.
I know you IRL. Sean knows you IRL. Dominic has known you this whole episode. So we've got a little bit of your opinions on things.
Friends.
We want to know more about you and what makes you tick. The biggest thing I know about you is that you've been working on a personal project for years. And so much so that you've got a demo out on Steam, which is the coolest thing I know anybody to say recently, because holy shit, I don't even know if there's like you got to call people and say, hey, I want to put a game on Steam. And they're like, all right, well, there's this challenge. You got to go find things in the woods and you got to put it together. And then it makes like a idol. And then you have to then take it to a hidden temple. Yeah. And then you get on Steam. I'm assuming that's how it is. So I think you've already done this.
It's far less involved. It used to be very involved. Steam used to have a program called Greenlight, where basically you could put your game on Greenlight and then people would vote. And once it was over a certain number of votes, Steam would consider putting it on the store.
Nice.
And now they've just opened the door and they assume the community will curate itself, which it sort of does, but not really.
I'm going to assume
yeah, so
basically...
era. No, I came in right after the Greenlight era.
Why?
No. Yeah, it's not, you just pay a fee to get put on the store, but that doesn't. The real battle in being an indie dev is getting eyes on your project. Like
fair.
Any project that's decent, the fight is not getting people to enjoy their game. The fight is not getting people to play their game or even potentially finish it. The fight is having people even know that it exists. And, Steam is a marketplace of hundreds of thousands of applications. And, so when you put a game on Steam, even if it makes it on the front page in some little section for, 20 minutes or something, you're going to see a bump from that. But most releases that go onto Steam are never seen anywhere. And so the challenge for being an indie dev is that you have to wear all the hats, but you have to constantly change them. And that's where the real burnout is in indie dev. Like in the development process, doing art, doing pixel animations, making maps, rigging up character animations, writing story, coding events in place, stuff like that. I love all of that stuff. The burnout for me is when I have to shift from that into, okay, well, I got to make some posts about my game and maybe try and promote them so that people can even know that I'm working on a game. And I've been really fortunate to sort of stumble into a pretty massive online community, which is, I knew Sean. I pulled Sean into our community. This is how I met Super Cool. This is, the school bus, that whole community there. There's 40 little tangent communities that are branched off in different directions. And so at this point, there's a lot of people that know at least who I am and that I'm working on something. That's cool. I have a lot of people out there that are, willing and interested to promote me and promote what I'm working on. And that are very keenly awaiting the day that I update this demo so that they can play it on stream. Because I've been talking about a demo update for going on a year at this point.
The hype is real. The hype is very real.
The hype is real. And the reason it's taken as long as it has is because the demo update changes a lot of core things about the game. We've completely rebuilt the entire UI. like in code and in graphics. So it functions differently. It looks better. It's cleaner. We have integrated new fonts into the game so that it, when you're reading, it's easier to read. The text isn't as jammed together. There's a little more buffer and space to it. We actually went on a whole stint of trying to do a test for voice acting the game, and got together with a whole bunch of friends and Twitch streamers to get voice cues from them and integrate them into the game and see how it felt. And ultimately it felt really amateur, and we were like, this is not how we want to move forward. We don't have any sort of budget to do voice acting, and it's War of Alana is a classic 16-bit tactical JRPG. Like it is very much Shining Force at the core. It is a Genesis spiritual successor, and so it doesn't really need voice acting. It doesn't really need a lot of the things that we could do to elevate it. And so so we sort of scrapped that work, which is good because scope wise for the project, it would have been an insane amount of work
True.
to do.
It's neat to think about.
Yeah, no, it was really cool the first couple times that I built a scene with actual voice cues, and the characters had voices and had personalities, and I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing. And then I was like, oh, I need to start thinking about vocal inflection, and I need to start thinking about accents, and
it gets into acting. You're now directing actors.
Yeah.
You're already wearing 57 hats. Let's add 200 more.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us how you started out before the meat and potatoes and the burnout you've already referenced. Tell us about your path as Justin before becoming GryphonBlade77, and then lead into the idea, and then obviously we've already had a precursor into the game itself, and what inspired you to make the game. I'm curious. I definitely am curious of the origin story, because I don't think our audience of all four current viewers right now, granted our podcast is a lot more, but so they'll hear this tomorrow and they'll feel a lot better. But
so I have an older brother, and a lot of what I did as a kid was just to mirror whatever he was doing. This is a standard thing that happens. My brother was very into art. My brother was very into Legos. My brother was very into fantasy and sci-fi. And so I was naturally, those were all the things that I did. I just did whatever my brother was doing. And one day, my brother got a Genesis, and he got Shining Force. And it was the first time that we had an NES prior to that, but, if you look at an NES game, we were playing Mario, I think we played Dragon Warrior 1. And there's a pretty big difference between the NES era and the Genesis era.
There's a big jump between Genesis and even Super NES, right? Like they were huge competitors to market.
They were kind of the same era.
But like Genesis was always poo-pooing about the quality of colors and things like that compared to even Super NES.
I miss those days. The Genesis versus Nintendo shit talking.
You mean the original console war?
The original console war. The console war to end all console wars that actually spawned
Commodore 64.
All of the subsequent console wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, and watching my brother play Shining Force and being introduced to this cast of characters that had all these different abilities, and it was like life-changing instantly. And I was very, very involved in gaming when I was a kid, and I always had, dreams of making my own games or designing games. I still somewhere have a big, like, thick, envelope that you put legal paper in. Not a manila envelope, but like one of the ones with the two things and you tie them together.
It's like an accordion.
Sort of.
Yeah.
That has old game designs from when I was like 10 or something, just drawings. I'd draw out a little town. I'd draw a little box and put like shop stuff and like, you know, write up characters, all the very like basic sort of ideas, nothing of real, you know, meat.
But still, though,
and
the inspiration, the ideas are there. That's big.
Yeah,
for any
I mean,
creative.
always from the very beginning. And so, all through school, that was what I wanted to do. In junior and senior year, I put a ton of my time into RPG Maker. Me and a friend of mine wrote up this big story. I started working on a game using sprites from Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger and a whole bunch of other Super Nintendo RPGs. And I think I ended up, somewhere around like 3 hours of actual gameplay.
Wow.
For this game that we had made in RPG Maker. And then, you know, we left high school and all of our interests
this is
stayed the same,
year
but
of
like
high school. I thought you were saying college, my man. Like,
no, I never
crazy.
went to college.
Hey,
no
me
shame in it,
either.
baby. No shame.
Yeah,
No
hell
shame.
yeah,
College of Hard Knocks.
Hey, my college year took as much as a
Oh,
doctor
yeah.
should. I'm only a bachelor degree. You know what I'm saying? I had a great time.
my
Bunch of death.
20s were a lot because I had no piece of paper to open doors for me.
Self-made man.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, so you know, I got out of high school and I was like, okay, you know, I want to work on projects. I want to do writing. I want to figure out how to get into games. And so I went and I interviewed to enroll in the Art Institute up in Arlington. And I was accepted in like 24 hours or something. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go to school for game design. And then they were like, cool, it's going to be $100,000. And I was like,
I'm not going to go to school for game design.
I am not going to go to school for game design. And yeah, I mean, so I basically was like, well, that dream's dead. Let's can that, put that somewhere else. And I spent the next like 5 or 6 years just trying to pursue other things that I was interested in and trying to find something that gave me enough fulfillment that I would want to do it every day. I worked in cabinet shops. I worked in sales. I worked in kitchens. I was a catering kitchen chef for a while. I was an Amish baker's assistant for a couple of years.
So when you said you've done everything, you were not joking. You were like not saying, oh, in the technology industry. You mean like literally?
Yeah, no, like I co-owned a construction company for a couple of years.
I'm waiting for you to say like lifeguard and like.
No, I
He doesn't like water.
Yeah,
me
and water don't mix well. But
yeah, you're guarding it. You're not getting in it.
But I've worked in
like they're
I've worked in most industries.
That's
a lot of hats.
And yeah, just picked up a lot of skills, picked up a lot of just a lot of information on how, you know, all sorts of things worked. And then sometime right around the middle of 2011. No, it was 2011. I saw a post from a friend of mine from high school, who Sean knows, our friend Will.
there you go.
And I had no idea that Will had any interest in games or anything. And Will posted something, I think on Facebook, that was a tile set that he'd worked on. And he was like, well, I think he said something like, I don't always stay up all night, but if I'm making tiles, I will. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And so I reached out to Will and I was like, hey, you like working on game stuff? And he was like, yeah, I've been learning some stuff, trying to make some platformers. And I was like, okay, cool. And so we met up at an Arby's and we both brought our laptops. And
what'd you get?
I had, I don't remember. It was 11 fucking years ago. 8 years ago.
Sauce.
We probably got roast beef sandwiches, let's be honest.
I haven't
Curly
been
fries?
in like a
Of
decade.
course, yeah,
I need
always
to go.
curly
I
fries.
need
Always.
to
Just
go.
making sure.
Always curly fries.
Give me that horsey sauce all day.
But so yeah, Will pulls out his laptop and he has like this playable platformer shooter with all of this juice in it. Juice being a term in the games industry for like little bits of polish that make something stand out more. So like when his gun fires, it doesn't fire in a straight line. It actually like has a little bit of difference where it's coming out of the nozzle and landing on.
So it
a wall
actually
or
feels the
something.
force of gravity. Like there's
Yeah.
actually, that's cool. That's great.
And I was just like, my whole mind was blown that this dude that I went to high school with had like made a game just by himself on his laptop. And so I was like, cool, this is what I'm gonna do. This is I'm not fucking around anymore. I don't know how to code. I still don't know how to code. I know a lot about code now, but I don't write it typically. And I was like, well, I can't code, but I can do basically everything else. So I'm gonna do everything that I can do. And I spent the next
10 years
4 years
later.
4 years.
Nice.
I spent the next 4 years designing all the ideas that I had in my brain. So War of Volana, the project that we're working on now, that we've been working on for 6 years, is Project 42, actually.
Dang.
And it hasn't stopped. I think I'm on
that
67
makes you Tony Stark.
now.
This is Mark 42.
True.
That's
That's
awesome.
true.
You got
But,
the facial hair to match. I love it.
Listen. But so I just designed all day long. All I did was write games. I wrote a whole giant JRPG that obviously we haven't made, that has like 160-page script. I made maps for it. I connected with a friend of a friend's classmate at VCU who was a fashion designer to do a bunch of like character art for me, to just like start establishing things in the world. I was just doing whatever I could to make steps forward to working on something. And then I got a job, my first job in IT, and I was unlucky enough to be placed in an office that was 2.5 hours north of me. And so I took a bus to work and back every day for 5 hours.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Me.
Screw that.
Yeah, I did that for 14 months.
Woof.
And it was
No
atrocious.
wonder you have so many fucking ideas. You spent 5 hours on the bus every day.
Yeah.
No, I was sleeping. But on that bus ride, I happened to connect with someone who was also working in QA at Capital One, that was someone I'd seen around before. We hadn't really chatted much. And he had switched teams or something, and so he was starting to come up a couple of days a week on the bus with me. And we started talking one afternoon, and I don't remember. I was working on game art or something, and we just started talking about games. And I was like, yeah, I'd really love to be a game developer, but I can't code, and so I'm just kind of putting together whatever I can in RPG Maker or whatever. And he was like, oh, that's cool, I can code. And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, I know a bunch of code languages, but I don't really have that many ideas, so I haven't really done anything with it. And I was like, well, I've got ideas.
Well, you're like, let me whip out
Was
my
there-
backpack and this expandable accordion folder that has a string on it.
Was there an
Take
awkward
yourself.
silence? Was there an awkward silence from when you heard that and when you wanted to ask? Like what's the count to three?
The awkward silence was after that part. So
Yeah.
I was like, I've got ideas, and he was like, cool. And then there was the awkward silence, and then I was like,
So
do you
wanna-
want to work on games together?
Yeah,
And he
"You
was
wanna
like,
make out right now?
sure.
What are we doing?
Thought
right
you'd never
now?"
ask.
Did you wash your
He was
hands?
like, yeah, sure. We could do that.
Nice.
And so that started 10 months of us doing development on a totally different game. This actually wasn't War of Volana. This was before War of Volana. my current roommate, or my roommate at the time, and I had taken a really little sort of short story idea that I had and blown it up into a 6-part JRPG series that just was absolutely massive. And the biggest thing that I regret looking back at that time is I had this idea in my mind that I only wanted to make a certain kind of game, not genre-wise, but presentation-wise. And I told myself back then, like, I want to make games that are hand-drawn. I want to make games that are watercolored. I want to make, really high-level artistic games, because those stand out always. And so what I did in having that desire is I sort of put a wedge between myself and what I was capable of doing at that point. And looking back, I have a lot of regrets in that I didn't just say, man, it'd be cool to do that one day. But right now, I'm going to make games in RPG Maker and Pixel.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have done a lot more stuff back then if I'd had that mindset.
True.
But so, yeah, we worked on this game for 10 months and we put a bunch of time and money into it. And we got a little bit of a prototype together and a lot of really cool concept art made. And then, at 10 months, I was looking at it and I was like, this is a really cool idea that we don't have like $10 million to make because we were going to have the whole game hand drawn. And
you don't
so
just
we
10
got
mil
crazy.
lying around.
Which is
so
crazy.
I mean, there were like 4 of us working on it.
Jesus.
And so it was just like, well, okay, can't make that. I guess I'll make the other game that I really want to make, which is just another Shining Force. Shining Force 1 was hugely formative for me. Shining Force 2 was even more formative for me because it expanded on all of the ideas in Shining Force 1. And then Shining Force 3 was a weird Saturn kind of like slickly move control wise low poly 3D game that did not feel like a Shining Force game at all.
Right.
And then they abandoned the series and all the other Shining games have been like weird hack and slash bullshit. And I was like, I want another Shining Force game, so I'm gonna make it. And that started the very beginnings of War of Alana. And I knew that there were things at the core that I wanted to change, like how many inventory slots you have. By that point, I had played Final Fantasy Tactics. I'd played Fire Emblem. I'd played all these games where it wasn't just attackers and people with magic. You had weapon skills. You had supplemental abilities. You had things like that. And so I really wanted to expand the breadth of what your characters were capable of. And all of those design decisions went into the core of what became War of Alana. And so over the summer of 2015, I put together a giant Google Doc, which I still have. I don't, in the industry, there's like a standard where you sort of operate in game design documents, which are like Word docs that outline what you're going to do. Right. And I think that's bullshit because I would rather have a Bible of data of information that I can use to specifically craft what I've been wanting to make. And so I have a giant Excel doc that has formulas and character data and enemies and all the shops laid out, what's in them, how much stuff costs, literally every detail of the game mapped out. I did that over about a summer and then started really into pixel art and we started building a prototype. It took us about 6 months to have the very basics of combat and also like walking around a town, being able to go inside of buildings and talk to people and stuff.
The interesting part to me is that even just you haven't even really talked about the story of the game, which we don't necessarily have to cover that in this episode because I feel like that's asking about how a clock works, right? Like we can enjoy the time together. You don't have to tell me how the gears turn and the hands move.
Yeah.
Wait for the demo. Wait for the demo.
Right. There's an update coming. If you don't know, now you know. But 2 things I want to point out, and I thought it's very interesting, and you're saying it in a way, and I want to make sure I I'm putting it in the perfect way. No offense to your partner, but this definitely is a love letter to those early years of gaming for you. And because of that cherishment and appreciation, you use the term Bible for keeping all of this kind of contained. There's similarity even with the writer for like Breaking Bad, that they had a Bible for the show, that these are the things that work, these are the things that don't work in this universe, these are the characteristics of these characters, etc. And it sounds like you're doing, and maybe you've heard about these things beforehand, but even if you have, you at least appreciate the value in the forethought, and you do it because of the love of the game and the love of that history that you have for it. And to me, that's the most interesting part, because I definitely love when I hear about people making something very quickly and it becomes successful. It's fine. But when you hear about people that spend, more or less over several decades now for you, having the love, finding the inspiration, being lucky enough to be born in a generation where there's so much free technology that you can use, and then taking the time, which is essentially money, to put into it on top of your money that you spent time earning in the first place. Like, you're doubling down. It's money squared, right? Now you're putting it into this project even more so, and you're taking the care into it. I want to play this game just by talking to you about it. I could know nothing about the plot. I could know nothing about the characters, but because I know you and what you're saying, that inspires me more than anything else. It's the same way whenever you, I don't know, maybe you play a game for several years and then you hear about senior leadership having like a Bill Cosby suite, and it turns you off to that game. This is the opposite of that. You know what I mean? Like, this is like hearing the Beatles for the first time versus like seeing someone take a shit on the Mona Lisa. It's like, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate, I guess, that analogy.
Justin's trying to wrap his mind around it. Like, did he call me Bill Cosby?
am I shitting on the Mona Lisa?
It does go back.
No, I'm just kidding.
It does go back to how indie games, and what I love about you said they dropped the ball with Shining Force 3, but the industry of games has matured to the point where like the tools are there, the love is there, but the people that grew up with these old games have matured in their own way, not to just say, ooh, games are cool, but I want to build a career around this. I want to build an art form around this. I want to build a community around this. And I've known you, Justin, for a while, and I've seen you knock all three, which seems effortlessly. Or you just don't sleep. You don't sleep. It's not without effort.
On the surface, but you're paddling underneath, like, oh my god.
So I'm. It's that I've recently, for any of you who play D&D, I've recently coined the term, or the phrase, I get all my spell slots back on a short rest. I'm basically I am almost always recharged all the time by the things that I put my time into.
Nice.
That's hard.
That's hard for a lot of people, man.
It's hard. Well, and so Sean joking like, oh, do you just never sleep? It's funny because I just had a sleep study done, and I have really severe sleep apnea.
I would assume so, because I'm constantly getting 2 a.m.
when
notifications.
You get a CPAP
screaming.
Justin, that shit is gonna change your life.
That's what people say. And,
I got one last year,
and
I had insomnia, and I had sinus infections all the time. And I've had a CPAP machine for a year, and I sleep completely through the night. I haven't had a sinus infection in over a year. Like, your quality of life fucking changes.
That's what everybody says. And I got the call a couple days ago that it's on back order. So that
sucks.
So I think it was supposed to be here this week, but now I have literally no idea when it's going to come, but it'll be here eventually. And then I'm really excited to potentially be working at an even greater pace than I am, because a lot of the time I'm like, man, I could really be doing so much more. and then I look at how much I'm doing, and I'm like, this is maybe a lot actually.
Less projects. Let's do less.
But yeah, so that's sort of the other part of it, is that War of Alana is the main plate. That's the big burner. But I'm also juggling like 4 other projects in the meantime. But
yeah, some with our friend Super Cool.
Yep. Some was super cool.
That guy's pretty cool. I like him.
Yeah, Shadow's super cool, and his other half that they're basically trying to get the primary chair in their the same orchestra, I guess, today or yesterday.
Yeah.
Hopefully that goes well.
They're at a rehearsal right now, actually. Yeah, Soup is worried that with the CPAP I'm gonna be too powerful.
Yeah, you might have more energy than what you can fucking.
I'm excited because I'm excited to do 1,000% more than I'm doing.
Or more quality, not quantity. I think.
Well, sure.
You definitely want the quality because.
Well, so these days, my quality of life has diminished quite a bit, and I've had sleep apnea for like 20 some years. So I was really used to how it functioned, and these days it's way worse. And it
gets worse as you get older. So
yeah,
Truth.
I sort of am just like in and out of comatose states, from lunch onward. So there's days where I just can't do anything, and then there's days when I'm decently functional and I can blast through a whole bunch of work. But anyway, so yeah, just lots of stuff all the time. We've put so much time and effort into War of Alana. So it's funny, like telling you all these things. I'm really only sort of caught up to the beginning of that game. I spent about 3 years of development, completely redoing the art style 3 times. And it just in the pursuit of learning pixel art, learning to be better, consulting with artists, getting feedback, that whole loop, and just trying to push it to the point where I was happy with it and also everyone else was happy with it. And we're there now. I'm definitely happy with it. We're still pushing art further. Part of the big demo update that's taking so long is that all of the combat animations are being replaced and animated by someone else, which takes a huge workload off my plate, but also really changes the sort of fundamental feel of combat in that game. And it's really cool to see it come together now. And so it started as a Genesis game, and it started with a 16-bit soundtrack. Andrew Composer, who some of you know, like reached out to me on Instagram one time and was like, "Hey, your game looks cool. Do you need a composer for it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be good."
Sure.
Because at that point, a friend of mine was coming over playing piano randomly, and I would record it and listen to what he'd played and recreate sections in my computer to then orchestrate on top of. So I was also doing the soundtrack.
Yeah,
transposing and transposing.
Yep. I saw a whole folder of tracks that he wrote that we ultimately aren't gonna use most of them. But like the Plains theme, that like the big theme that you hear in the demo at the very beginning, not at the very beginning, but like when you get into gameplay, that was basically entirely composed by me with the piano part. The first town theme I composed with the piano part. The caves theme and a couple other ones were all music that I had a part in. And then signing Andrew on, who'd never written music for an RPG before and had really never played a retro JRPG. He'd never played Final Fantasy at this point. And now he's played tons of them and tons of RPGs. But he was just in it from the very beginning. And writing music that was perfect, and he still is. Like the music, I mean, he's still writing new music this week that he just wrote a shop theme that we integrated into all the shops, and it's incredible. and it just elevates everything so much more. So like the project is taking a really long time, but as we work on it more and more, it just gets better and better. One of the things that actually Super Cool pushed me to do is he was like, man, I'm walking around these maps in this forest and I see all these different kinds of bushes and I see all these flowers and I just want to go like click on everything. And I was like, that'd be cool. Maybe I should let you do that. And so I put world text in for every single thing you see in the game. You can click on and get names, information about it, and it will change because the demo is really so. Arnon is a villager of Pell, which is the village at the beginning, and really your whole cast is villagers of this little village who sort of stumble upon an event that has really bad implications of war starting to brew in their homeland again. And so they go on this journey. The game is them going on this journey to figure out what's happening and see if they can stop it. And so there's a really sort of core familiarity that everyone in the starting town has because everybody grew up there. So like everybody greets you by name. You know what all the stuff is. You know what all the plants are. You know what all the flowers are. And as you move into new areas, you're not going to have that familiarity. And so Arnon's inner monologue is going to be more questions or noticing, physical attributes, not what something's name is. And so those sort of changes built into what's planned for the game. It's really cool. It's really exciting to work on. And you'll meet NPCs and you don't know what their names are. So it'll be, dashing young man or whatever. Like it's not going to be someone's name when you talk to them.
Nice.
And so I want to give it a level of, I guess, sort of realism that can connect with the players and help them understand like, I'm not just going to go talk to someone and know what their name is just because I've clicked on this sprite and a little box has come up on my screen. Like I try to keep everything in world. And there's a lot of ways that I've had to go back and be like, oh, this doesn't make sense. Let's take that out. Because I was at the very beginning approaching it, like a standard JRPG, and it's grown into such a deeper project than that. And the story has too. I'm in writing the story for War of Alana, I sort of realized that it's much bigger than one game, and so it's actually a trilogy that I've written story out for, and there's a whole world that it encompasses, and races, and so I've written most of the second game, and I have a lot of the core parts of the third game hashed out. But so it's a whole big beast, and we'll get there.
I got a question about just as an example, when Super Cool said, hey, I want to click on things, and that led to your game design decision to have some progression to the little flavor text. What kind of problems did that introduce once that design decision was made and you put that on top of, like you said, like a traditional JRPG where the context flavor text maybe didn't flow like that?
Right. So I guess the real sort of nice part about the way that indie development goes and how long this project has been is that there's a bunch of areas that Arnon's not familiar with, but I haven't really had time to build out yet. And so there's all sorts of new sprites and flowers and trees and stuff that I don't even have flavor text for. And so it's kind of one of those like, well, I'll cross that bridge when I need to. But I know in planning it that Arnon's not going to know what this stuff is. And so like all of these decisions that I make now roll into just having consistency in the feel later on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I cannot wait to click everything. And I'm not the type of person to click everything, but watching and hearing Super Cool geek out about it, and then knowing that you're putting that kind of stuff has me hyped on stuff that I would not normally want out of, a Final Fantasy Tactics or and I didn't grow up at all with like Shining Force, but I've watched your retro streams and was definitely getting into Shining Force just
Yeah.
out of your appreciation and being able to point out not just you loving it and thinking it's cool, but the like design stuff. You know, it's the director's commentary. If you
I always do whenever I'm playing anything really these days. You kind of can't turn it off once you turn it on. The design analysis of really any and all game things. Like I recently played Garden Story, which is an indie Zelda-like about a grape named Concord and just these little seasonal towns, and it's a fucking great game. You should go play it. But you know, it's little things like, oh, when I hit an enemy, there's a card that pops up before the number gets displayed. That's cool. Like that's a cool little way of doing that. Like these are the things that I've gotten used to picking out.
Little micro
and I'll just talk about them.
Yeah.
Like I'll just talk about design things that I notice as I'm playing pretty much anything, because it all just sort of gets filed away.
I love it. It's not stealing, it's borrowing. It's appreciating and being inspired by it.
Yeah, it's appreciating. Yeah. It's inspiration. The key
for sure
really these days is to take inspiration, take appreciation, and then make your own version of something. Don't outright steal, don't pixel trace, don't copy. There's a lot of that goes on in certain circles, and sometimes people don't really understand that they're doing it. And then people call them out and they get really defensive. And then they have to be like, oh, no, you're right. Hold on. We'll fix it.
Nice.
I think you're talking about a very specific story.
I am talking about a very specific game. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely save it for your next appearance on the show. I really hope that you do join us again, especially once the demo's been updated, or just if you've got a topic that you want to talk about, or if as we share things that we're discussing, week to week, with you, if you're like, oh, I got some shit to say, we'd definitely gladly have you back. This is Sean's second appearance. You're more than welcome to join us once again. But I really appreciate you first joining us, second taking the time to share, because this is really sharing a part of you. This is not just talking about a passion project. This is talking about your passion period. And you've got your partner in the background being a great part of our chat and keeping the flow going there. So thank you very much for that. Does anybody have any closing questions before we kind of wrap it up and say thank you to Justin and give him the red carpet to kind of talk about anything else he wants before we end it?
I kind of want to know more about. I don't know how much time we have, but I had a question about. I know that you are a DM, and I know that all of the skills of being a great DM obviously translate to being able to write lore for a world, not just a game. But I want to know any stories or tips on how one influenced the other because I don't know whether you were a DM first or a game writer first, but obviously it's like game writing first.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anecdote to close it. Fuck yeah.
So yeah, I was always very far into tabletop RPGs and at D&D. I'd played a couple games here and there, nothing really major, until February of 2018. And it was really when Critical Role started their second campaign, and one of my coworkers was like, hey, I think you'd be really into this. And I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And so I watched a couple of weeks of that, and by I think the third or fourth episode, I was like, this is not like 4 hours a week is not nearly enough Critical Role for me. And so I dove headfirst into campaign 1, which is about 500 episodes of 500 hours of content. And I crushed that in about 9 months. And
DM baby.
Well, and then so within weeks of also having campaign 2 going on and watching campaign 1 nonstop, I was like, this is not enough D&D. I have to be playing D&D. I have to be DMing. And so I took that first project, that 10-month behemoth that we'd worked on. I took that whole world and I turned it into my D&D setting. And now I have literally unlimited amounts of information and maps and worlds and stories and characters in that world that I DM. And so I DM'd for I DM'd for some coworkers and my partner Tori, who actually we got together because I introduced her, or I asked her to join my D&D campaign, and she asked me to join her D&D campaign, and then we were spending a lot of time together, and we were like, this works really well.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was like,
Boo, sad.
I love it. I love it. Give
See,
me it.
that was like over 3 years ago at this point.
yeah. Yeah, I had no
But,
idea.
but to answer your actual question, DMing actually taught me a ton of skills that I had not refined as a game writer that really helped me in approaching writing of any sort, planning things out. Because when you're writing JRPGs primarily, it's all long form. I'm pumping out 30 to 80 hours of content in planning, and in D&D sometimes what you're writing is a one shot, and it's like 3 hours of gameplay. And so it's a totally different process to approach, okay, I'm planning, a 3-hour session, or maybe a couple 3-hour sessions, or like an arc of a campaign. And it really helped me sort of whittle down, like, okay, what are the primary focus elements that I need to figure out for this thing that we're doing, and character planning and character traits and stuff like that. It's honestly, I wish I had gotten into D&D earlier, because it would have helped me evolve War of Alana to the point that it is now so much earlier. Most of War of Alana's planning for characters were, I want these classes to be in the party. And so I just
more like machine
classes.
Cogs of a machine.
And then them like genders and names. And I was like, cool, we're good. Nobody had any fucking backstory. I didn't know who any of the characters were. Until I started really getting into it and talking to people about it, and they're like, oh, tell me about your main character. And I'm like, well, he's from this town, I guess, and I don't know. Does he have a sister?
You could have used those 5 hours a day on a bus for 14 months. Like, you gotta, instead of sleeping.
Yeah, like I said, I slept very, very poorly. But
we
yeah,
blame Capital One and Samuel L. Jackson and what's in your wallet for your sleep apnea. That's what it is. That's what we blame.
No, I blame my tonsils never being removed when I was a kid.
Hey, you know what's funny? I had sleep apnea, and my tonsils were the size of my thumbs, and I could not sleep. I would stop breathing for 15 to 20 seconds at a time until my now wife and girlfriend at the time was like, "Dude, I think you're dead 19 times a night." Like I keep.
That's sleep apnea, homie.
Yeah, that's why I got them removed, brother. Apnea is. They're gone. If people at home want to see the inside of my mouth, they're gone.
I considered that, but the adult recovery for tonsillectomy
so long
can be horrible.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, if you don't like dope up and just sleep better for the next
for
6 days.
6 weeks?
No, it's like 6 days. Yeah, especially if they like cauterize your wound. Okay, you just wait for that.
Not for a hemophiliac, homie.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah, brother. True.
You got an underlying condition. You don't like just pulled a Donald Trump no offense card out of it.
Is that what we're gonna close out on?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Trump joke.
Wow. Okay. I think
Shots fired.
That's where that landed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend your disease, Dom. As somebody else who has one.
That's cool. You shit on the movie that I like. You offend my disease.
I had 3 assholes. I did it 3 times in 1 second.
I feel like the next time I'm on here, Dom's just gonna be like a blank screen.
Oh, Dom couldn't make it this week. Ooh. No. I'll never do an episode without Dom because Dom won't do an episode without me. Come on now. This is at a level. This is years of friendship that I've got with you, man.
Right. But what I've kept my mouth shut for most of this whole thing as we close up, but I wanted to say something to both of you, Justin and Sean. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing both of your stories over the episodes that you've been here. I love that both of your games are love letters to your past and your passions. like I said before, that I haven't had as much exposure to the indie side of gaming, but you humanize the game. Like when you talk about the Halos and the Gears of Wars and all of that, you don't hear a lot about the human element as to why those games were made.
Yeah.
But hearing Sean come on and talk about Motomancers and talk about how he, Akira was this huge influence to him. And then hearing you talking about Shining Force, and how, it was something that you and your brother were able to share together, is awesome. It makes me super excited to play both of your games. I played a little bit of the War of Alana demo that's currently out, and I'm really excited to play the new one coming out. I can't wait to get my hand on Motomancers when that comes out. And I can't wait to see what you guys do, because the amount of passion and the amount of drive and the amount of motivation and the amount of talent that you've been able to develop over the years of building your craft is only going to improve as you continue to grow. So you guys are going to go super far, and I'm really stoked to have met you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
2 Ds
Well
for
said.
Double Dapper. That was a way
I told you it's charming, right?
yeah. I feel good about this.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you guys very, very much, Dominic. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. That was very well said. You guys, again, thank you for being on the show. Episode 22.
Thanks for having us.
Damn. That was good. That was good. Longest
Yes.
episode to date, but worth every minute of it.
3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's no fluff, man. That's
Every
true.
minute.
I will more than likely break
Quality.
this out as a full episode and into other parts just so people can digest it a little easier. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be tagging everybody here, so please share with your audience so they can hear
For sure.
just the same amount of information and detail that we got to hear and bring more eyes to your project. Justin, I'm looking at you. Thank you very much. Big shout out to our sponsor yet again, and hopefully we'll see everybody back next week for another fun episode of Joystick Maverick.
We're not taking 5 weeks off again.
No, I'm back.
Woo!
And we're back.
Golf
Back
clap.
in a New York
Golf clap.
groove.
Yes,
Golf
golf
clap.
clap.
All right, guys, that's it. Rabbit.